Hello, everybody. Welcome to part one of the Earth mini campaign, the Advent Calamity series. I am joined by a few familiar faces, actually, the most familiar faces for any of these campaigns. But we also have two people new to the stream. Um, as per usual, we'll go around and introduce ourselves. Madi, you're right to the right of me. Or I guess I'll introduce myself first. I'm Andrew. I'm the dungeon master. That makes sense, right? Uh, and I will be DMing you. I also host the stream and do a lot of stuff besides that. Madi, take it away.
All right. Hi, I'm Madi. I will be playing Gipre, Nature Domain Cleric. And I'm just happy to be here. Yeah, that's it.
Good. Short, sweet, to the point. Charlie.
To turn
Charlie,
my mic
no.
on. So I'm Charlie, and I'm playing Ilya, who, if you saw the Fire mini campaign, I'm from that. And so, a very optimized level 8 Warlock, and I've got a surprise multi-class in there.
They got their shit rocked.
Yeah, they were an NPC and they got hit so hard they became a PC.
Last time you saw Ilya, they were, underneath an eagle and yeah.
Yeah, being deeply humiliated.
Correct, Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm playing Hen'thristis, who is an old man, which is how I feel today, so it won't be a stretch roleplay-wise. I also do some stream stuff, mainly the art, but once I did a stream. It was the greatest moment of that day for me. So that's it.
Right. I do like the layout. It looks good with the cameras.
Yeah, I hated this one for 99% of it, and then I liked it at the end.
That 1% counts.
Yeah, putting the cameras on is the relevant thing. Like, I don't like any other part of it, but once it has the cameras, it looks good.
All right, Jesse, go ahead.
Hi, I'm new to the stream, but not new to everybody here. I've played it like the one offline stream. I'm joining everyone today live now. Crazy. I'm playing Basil. He's a Kobold assassin rogue, and he's great. He's very scrunkly, but yeah.
If you watch the mainstream, Jesse actually saw the Bonnie Bale before it was ever referenced. All right, last but not least, Sara.
I'm Sara. I'm playing Barry, who is a cleric wizard, primarily a wizard. I'm currently running. I'm going to be running the game tomorrow. I've DM'd a few games, and I'm a player. So
Yeah, we got kids on bikes tomorrow. Be there, same time, same place.
Yeah.
I had to finish that, but before that, we have to get into this. So, I'm going to start us a little bit differently. I'm going to try something a little bit different. You guys have been on a journey already for a few days now. You left out of Karad, which is the place which all of you call your home, at least currently. And I just realized all the Discord names. And you've been going on a quest on behalf of the Imghalad, which is a sort of knightly order, you could say. It's not quite that. For the dwarves, that's mainly cast or bent on reclaiming parts of the Underdark beneath the Khor Mountains back for the dwarves, much of which was lost millennia ago to demons and other creatures which lurk now deep in the bowels of Earth. They're not a religious order or anything like that. It's more of a like pseudo mercenary order. A lot of like second-born sons, daughters for the Dwarven clans enter into there. They're a little bit prestigious in some ways, but oftentimes they just hire adventurers to go out and do much of the dirty work. You guys were tasked with going down and investigating rumors, issues with earthquakes that have been happening by area. Over the past month or so, there have been reports as far south as Galmador, Rod, large earthquakes, collapsing tunnels, and generally wreaking havoc and mayhem in the Khor Mountains. Through divine magics and other means, the Imghalad thinks that the source of this is from an area deep beneath Karad, which hasn't been ventured down into in at least several centuries. That's where you guys are headed. Currently, you are passing through one of the many smaller roads that connect the various different tunnels and caverns that make up the Khor Mountain. As you're walking, you exit out of one tunnel into a larger cavern. There's a waterfall in here that cascades down to one side into a pool, and a small river that eventually goes somewhere off into the rock deeper. There's also many crystals which glow subtly. They're on internal lights, and large mushrooms common in this area. As you all are making your way through this, can I have everybody roll me a perception check?
I might be able to roll a perception check, but I think I might have to reload Foundry.
Terrible for me.
27.
Good job, Basil.
I don't know how I did that.
Those little
I
beady
have
eyes.
to-
you know.
I have to reload Foundry, but
His pupils are
can-
going this way, which is why he can see everything.
360 vision.
I can roll with a real die if you like, Andrew, or I'll just say that I'm not paying attention. Wait a second.
You just roll real.
He doesn't have to blink because
I
he's
got
just
plus
licking
two.
his eyeballs.
14.
Just like
14. Okay. None of you notice anything particularly unusual for making your way through space. However, Basil, you are very confident. In fact, you are positive that one of the crystals was looking at you, watching you. In fact,
he's definitely like walking next to Barry for sure. He'd probably tug on Barry's cloak like once he notices and like skitter over to the crystal, and not necessarily like not touch it or interact with it in any way, but kind of like sign to Barry, basically just like, hey, that looked, and point it out to him.
Barry will like say like point to his eyes and then say like look with the eyes or like look with the head, like mind.
He like nods, like eyes. He points to his eyes.
Okay. Barry will look to the rest of the group and say, it seems our friend here has seen something. The crystals are staring at us.
He just
Crystals
nods.
don't have eyes.
Really?
This deep in the earth, the magic.
as you guys are sorry, go ahead.
Well, we should certainly indulge Basil. Basil can understand us, right? Like we don't like
Yes,
Basil
he can-
speaks common.
he can.
Yeah, it's the other way. What do you mean by staring, Basil?
What does he mean? Can he make like a? Would it be like a nature check or an arcana? No, I feel like it's. I feel like he'd probably want to try to
Um,
investigate it.
Nature or Arcana would be fine. I'm curious also, what is the current march? It's big enough that you could be marching 3x3, 2x2.
6.
You don't know. Crystals, man.
Stacked on top
He
of each
just-
other. We're a
He
tower.
just looks and just like blinks one eye after the other.
We're actually all holding arms interlinked, and we keep like turning in a circle.
We're like
Right.
all facing
Perfect
out, like
target.
Gipre's
rotating.
just like, this is the most inefficient way to walk down this tunnel, but fine.
I think if there's like no major objections, it probably makes sense that like either Ilya and Hen'thristis are a pair at the back or the front, depending on where Barry would prefer to be, and then Gipre's like in the middle, and we're like an X basically.
Barry's happy to be up in the front.
Yeah, Hen'thristis also happy to be up in the front, but when you get to be his age, you realize that the more
Rear
often
flips.
you can get away with doing less, the longer you last.
Yeah,
Wherever Barry is, Basil's right next to him.
yeah. So Barry's probably got Basil up there near the front with them.
Gipre's right behind, just like, oh boy, come on.
Okay. If I'm understanding this correctly, I'm going to move us.
On the crystal as well, based on what Basil described to me.
I'm going to move us to a map.
Okay.
I think the visions are set up. Ilya, if you can't see, it's because our face as human. I apologize for speaking of
Everybody
which,
else
We're
has
taking
dark
devil's
vision.
sight.
if you guys want to have any lights, it is dark down here. There's some
Mhm.
minor amount of light from the crystals, but if you guys want to have a light spell or a torch,
I would usually have an object with continual flame I'd had cast on it out at the moment.
what's the radius?
Same as a torch. 20 bright, 20 dim.
I don't have a token with vision on this map, according to Foundry.
You definitely. How about now?
No. Oh yes, I got it.
As you guys are pausing, deliberating, getting ready to approach crystals, Hen'thristis, you said you were going to go investigate.
No, I just asked Basil what he had seen. Like, why did he think they were staring, basically?
Can I make an Arcana check on the crystals based on what Basil told me?
Are you going to approach it?
He's going to look at it from a distance with a light source.
Okay, you can make an Arcana check.
Okay. I feel like the first thing any good adventurer learns by this level is if something is acting mysterious, you don't touch it.
It looks like a crystal to you, and you've never heard of a crystal with eyes. As you're having this thought, however, out from the crystal where you're staring, and from several of the nearby crystals, creatures begin to move forth. We're going to go ahead and roll.
Oh shit.
Starting it off right away.
I can't see any other people's tokens, by the way. Just
I rolled a 3 and a 5 after rolling nothing above a 10.
I don't know why this does this.
Hey, middle of the road. That's good.
it should be my computer being weird. I might restart my computer during the break.
I don't know if that rolled with initiative. There we go. Cool. Sorry, I rolled with advantage. My mistake.
No, that's right.
English. Okay.
Because of your magic item.
This will be interesting.
We just all kill one thing, and then
Yeah.
his turn, and everything else has jumped out.
Give me 1 second. I need it.
You're fine. I need to use my brain.
I mean, you're playing an assassin. Your brain is stab the thing that is before,
I know.
like,
I'm just
after
trying
me
to
in
figure
initiative,
out.
right?
I'm trying to use my brain to see what my brain tells me to go hit first.
Oh, I can only see one thing. So if there's more things on the map, I can't see them.
Oh no.
It's all right. This happens occasionally when my computer is being bad.
So are these like walls, or are they just like more like we can traverse on them?
You're talking about the borders.
Yeah.
You could go backwards. It like shrinks down into like a tunnel again.
Mhm.
The right hand side is effectively a wall.
Okay.
Left hand, not quite
Okay,
that
I see.
flat, but and it turns back into another cave down at the other end.
Okay. So if I were to go for this one, I would be climbing, or is it flat? At the bottom left.
It's flat. You
Okay.
going up would be climb.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm just trying.
You're fine. I'm just asking for clarification's sake.
I'm moving my token for a testing purpose, not for wanting to be somewhere else. I was like, maybe I'm not close enough to tokens to see them.
I didn't use vision in any of the other ones. Stream should be. Okay. You act first as all of these creatures begin to move out of the crystal, kind of lumbering towards the party.
So they're like pretty large in size then? They're
Taller. They're taller than Basil. They're a little bit bigger than like your standard human. They've got crystal protrusions like coming out of their back and head and every many of the surfaces. Their claws as well are like crystal sharpened.
But there's a bit of fleshiness between all of that.
Yes.
Something he can okay, cool. Something for him to stab. Perfect. He's like
all
watching
you need.
this. He's watching this crystal, and as they come to life, he gets like super, super excited because like, oh my god, I get to go jump on something. So he's gonna head down over here away from the party. And go at this guy with just his short swords first. But he is going to use assassinate for that, if he can, with permission. I didn't roll that with advantage. Hold on, let me just roll make just to get. Okay, 28 to hit.
Wait, doesn't your thing crit on the 19?
Yeah, but it's a crit anyways because it's
Okay.
'cause I have a magic item. Correct? Andrew,
Yeah,
just
for
clarification.
assassin.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Oh yeah, you're clicking on the rock rapier. That's why.
Oh, what am I clicking on that's wrong?
The rapier.
Okay. Yeah, ignore me. Don't listen to me.
That's fine. Then go ahead and roll another D8 plus your sneak attack damage. Which is
double
also
the sneak attack, isn't it?
Double sneak attack would be.
Yeah, Christ.
Would be so 10d6.
Not Imris without a
No,
murder
5d6 times 2, not 10d6. Ignore me.
No, it's
No, it
10d6.
is 10d6.
Oh.
No, you're okay.
You
Yeah,
double the dice, not times the dice.
You double the dice, not the damage. Cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
15.
29.
8, 16.
Oh, I'm sorry. That first attack is a hit as well, the 15.
Oh, I was just attacking once. I just forgot to roll
you
with
just clicked the
advantage
wrong thing.
because assassinate. Please ignore the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, my
Okay.
mistake.
No worries. Basil, you
44.
quickly move in, aided by your magic skills. Stabbing out with the rapier, catching this creature in the throat as it pulls away. It seems to be dripping this almost like glittery ichor rather than blood. And you have bloodied this creature with this blow. Although it is not down.
He's just like, and he like looks back at Barry for approval.
Barry just gives the world's biggest thumbs up inside like gauntlets, like an encouraging smile.
Yeah, that's my turn.
All right, as Basil goes. Crystalline Devil closest to the bulk of the party's turn. They're going to take a step forward and make an attack. Yes.
What? I'm just an old man. Don't hit me.
Have we all
Hell
seen each
yeah.
other fight before? When we as we've been on this?
You've had some minor encounters with different random creatures that through this space. So you're somewhat familiar with each other's abilities.
Anything that hasn't been significant enough to make me draw 2 scimitars, I've just been casting Toll the Dead on. Like, if I don't have to draw both my scimitars for a fight, I'm going to cast Toll the Dead.
Barry just assumes this old man is here for no reason.
It makes 2 claw attacks against you. The
That's
first
funny.
one missing as you just step out of the way deftly. The second one, 9 points of slashing damage as it kind of just lumbers forwards, and then these big, hefty, weighty blows come at you. That's going to be it.
As Hen'thir
On to
comments
you.
on that he's just an old man, not to hit him, Ilya lets out this really flat, off-putting bark of a laugh, and just like tilts their head at Hen'thir.
I can only see the one that hit me. Could you like ping where the other 4 are? If there's
On the
4?
stream too. There's one here,
Oh, I don't have my phone for that.
one here,
I should do that. That's a good idea.
one down next to Basil. Actually,
Alright.
it's easier than that. If you can see a crystal, they're all currently standing next to the crystals closest to you.
All right. I think Hen'thir is a man of the mind that you focus one enemy, and Hen'thir never moves quicker than like a rather stately walk, and at that pace, just kind of appears down next to the one that Basil is fighting. I'll take the attack of opportunity.
Take another big swing at you. Just barely hitting.
My computer is running badly.
For 8 points.
8 points. All right. Well, this probably requires some weapons. So as he walks over, like 2 scimitars, kind of he wears generally a very loose cloak over what you can kind of tell is the form of a really basic studded leather armor. And he from within the cloak, as it like swirls around him as he walks, he kind of pulls out and suddenly has 2 scimitars in his hands. And I'll just make 3 attacks against this guy.
Yes. The last one misses, but yes, there's 2.
Like his left hand, the scimitar like flashes out twice, and then his slightly less dominant right hand he like goes to do an equally as quick one, and his like elbow cracks as it comes down, and it's like it's just an age thing that he's not familiar with. It's like just an irritating moment for him. For a total of 15 damage.
Your two scimitars bring or come down upon the creature, drawing more of this like glittery. Suddenly, your sword is slightly full of sparkly glitter. Your third strike, however, just like off of one of the crystals on its back, unable to deal any damage. And since I'm thinking about this, backtracking slightly, Basil, why don't we get a quick description of your character?
Yeah, so Basil is this like scrunkly little black kobold. He's got like bright green eyes and like his horns and like he's got like these two kind of smallish wings on his back that he's not really controlling by any means. They're just kind of flopping around behind him. Like you don't really get the sense that he knows how to use them if he can. Um he's just kind of a weird looking guy. Just a strange little black kobold, little iridescent, purple greenish reflections. It's like very, very short and small.
And then in theory, we got a little bit of description, but
Yeah, he's he was born like at the very end of the blight. He's a high elf. He keeps his hair tied up in a long, like a high ponytail. You can see his ears, which they have like a couple of nicks in them from just about 900 years of fighting. He wears what, if you're being really generous, kind of looks like Jedi type robes, just like a brown robe over his armor. But if you're being less generous, it kind of looks like he's wearing something that is more for comfort and you maybe shouldn't just wear outside. He looks very stately. He stands. He's probably the most upright man that like most people have ever met, in that he stands with his back completely straight. His posture is impeccable. And like I said, he moves really slowly, but also incredibly quickly. And as he like steps next to Basil, he's kind of leveling his scimitars at this crystal creature, trying to be a bigger target than Basil, because Basil's just a small little kobold.
all right. The others will do as their which Gipre. Now your turn.
Yeah. So Gipre is a dwarven woman of medium stature who kind of dresses in greens and some dark browns, and has a symbol of her god on her neck. And over the last few days, she's kind of been trying to have better posture, from the guidance of the older Hen'thir, but she's trying, but she's still a little young and isn't quite used to being out and about as much as this group is. She's been primarily working just in the temple, so this is a little different for her, but she does not mind. And for her turn, she is going to. We're just gonna do a guiding bolt, because why not?
Right.
We're gonna do it at the one that is about 10 feet away from me. And we'll do it at third level. Why not?
Fuck it, why not?
Why not?
That's gonna hit.
Yeah. Okay. 21 damage.
Okay. What does your guiding bolt look like?
Her guiding bolt is a rich kind of green with a little bit of blue tints behind it, and it just kind of looks like a glowing. It's not quite it looks like it could be a glowing arrow, but it gets a little fuzzied out here in the darkness.
Well, the glowing arrow smacks into the chest of the creature, kind of washing over it as it staggers. It glows softly with guidance from the bolt. Is your action any bonus action movement?
I think I will stay put. For spellcasting, are you doing the rule of where you can cast a spell above level 2 and then a cantrip for a bonus action? If you bonus action cantrip,
Yeah, you can. Oh no, sorry.
or other way?
I do it the normal way. I know that there's like some feats that are
Yes.
optional, but no, I do it the rules as written way, where it's
Okay.
a leveled spell and a cantrip.
Okay, then that is it. That's all my turn. I'll stay put.
Right. And then Ilya. I've seen Ilya once, but Charlie, if you want to give maybe some new description, what they look like now.
So Ilya is standing fairly tall, fairly broad-shouldered, and even standing still, they have just a sort of deliberateness to their posture. They don't quite have the polite posture, like the standing like a gentleman that Hen'thristis got going on. They just look like they're standing there like a brick wall. And as they turn, their hair is quite long, but tightly braided, and it snaps over. And they kind of eye each of these individuals. They wear a breastplate for armor, so their arms are exposed, and like the consequences of having done that all of their time is like highly visible. Their skin's mildly dark but crisscrossed with a fair amount of scars. Madi, did Gipre attack the one next to Barry and Hen'thristis, or did Gipre attack another one?
I attacked the one that's by the small crystal, kind of closest to our group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then in that case, Ilya is going to look over at Gipre and then take 2 sharp steps in front of them and square up against the crystal. And as they do so, they summon their Hexblade to their hand. You said earlier, Andrew, that that's a +2 weapon?
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's just a straightforward long sword. It looks almost mundane even as it appears in their hand. There's something very plain about it. Except where it doesn't quite catch the light right. Like where it should shine and reflect, it doesn't do that in the way one would expect. And they're going to make their attack. Maybe, if it ever rolls.
Saw 13.
You're going to advantage because of Guiding Bolt.
That's correct.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. I'll roll it just to see. And I forgot that I have Booming Blade. Can I post Booming Blade that?
Sure, that's fine. No characters.
Yeah. And so as this unnaturally like light absorbing sword arcs through the air, it's going to just crackle. Booming Blade is applied to that. I'm assuming that hit.
Yeah. I was just waiting for damage.
Yeah. It's to having to hit the damage button. Normally it shows up.
It's just
Oh,
big.
Lord.
Well, saw 1.
It's real slow. Yeah, I saw 1 as well. Because, but let me hit that booming, so if it moves, it will get it. Alright, so it does an extra 1d8 on the hit, and it moves. If it moves, it takes 2d8. Because I'm at above 5th level.
I always forget how this works.
It is. I did roll. I might just roll again and see how long it takes to hit.
I'll subtract the damage when it.
Yeah.
There it is too.
I can watch it just itching across the screen.
Ilya steps forward, drawing this long sword, as I described. Crackling energy surrounds it as their blow lands. Not dealing a whole terrible lot of damage, although the thunder damage does appear to be a little bit extra effective to this particular creature. As you see some of the crystals shatter slightly, very slightly, as you strike it. Was your action any bonus action?
Let's see. I think my bonus action would go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Hen'thria and Ilya have been working together long enough that if one of the things Hen'thria would have talked about earliest is if you notice a weakness that you call out the weakness because it just gets through fights quicker. Just throwing that out there.
That makes sense. And in that case, I think Ilya takes a long moment. The next person is already in the process of moving before Ilya lazily calls that out over their shoulder. You might try a bit of thunder. It seemed to work. That's what you want, right, Hen'thir? Teamwork?
He does a full turn to you and inclines his head and then turns back in an instant.
When he does that, they just it's very obvious, I think, to Gipre at least, that they've just rolled their eyes and they go back to their focus.
Oh yeah, she felt that.
Right. So no bonus action. You got Hexblade's Curse, the big one.
Yeah, sorry, I got completely distracted.
Okay.
Isn't it
Booming Blade
Hex?
is the
Isn't
bonus
Hexblade's
action.
Curse? Booming Blade is an action,
Blade's an
and
action.
as the action, I brandish the weapon and cast it, I think.
So it's an attack that's also a cantrip, but it's a weird spell.
Sorry, my mistake.
No, it's all right. It's very strange. I always forget how it works.
Yeah, no, it's weird as hell. I think because Hexblade's Curse is different. Isn't Hexblade's Curse the one that is it reanimates something?
No, Hexblade Curse is you pick a creature, lasts for a minute, get bonus damage equal to your proficiency, and you crit on a 19. And also, if they die, you get some HP.
The Hexblade's Curse. Sorry, the Hex versus the Hexblade versus the
There's too many
Curse. There's so many
Hex curses.
Yes, thank you, Andrew, for knowing my character. That is exactly what I have cast on my enemy.
Okay, got it. Azalea steps forward, cursing the creature. We then get to the crystalline creatures, which suddenly begin to lurch forward. Party. Move over towards the berry. As it gets to you, it is going to. Actually, going to move to. And the reason it does that is when it gets to that space, suddenly kind of leans forward so that the giant crystals on its back are facing out towards the party. And then it shoots several of these crystals forth in a 15-foot cone to hit the three of you. I need the three of you to make me dexterity saving throws. The DC is 15.
That fails.
Oh, that's a hot 6.
Very no.
All of you are completely caught off guard by this, and you take 16 points of piercing damage as you're suddenly struck by these tiny little crystal slivers that stab into you.
I love how
Sharp and
quickly we
dagger-like.
just became the dexterity pair and then the slow people.
Yeah.
That's its action. This one's standing next to Basil, and Hen'thristis is going to do. I need two attacks, one against each of you. I'll do Hen'thristis, then Basil. Hen'thristis hits Basil. That's gonna Hen'thristis. You're gonna take 8 points of slashing damage as another claw seems to find your shoulder, ripping your clothes slightly, and drawing blood.
Sure. I do have a reaction to attacks, so
Okay,
sometimes I will use that. I'm not using it this time.
Okay. It's then Barry's turn, last in the party, but certainly not the least.
Yeah. Barry's gonna look at the one that just did the spray and is going to.
Or what does your character look like?
Oh yeah. Barry is a big guy, even for like what is supposed to be nominally described as like an elf. He's just above 6 feet tall. He has a sword that is about as big as Basil, tail to head. He wears full plate armor, a gigantic hat, and has a long, luscious beard covering most of his face. Every single time you've seen him fight, unless something is throwing fire, he tries to directly attack with a sword. It never seems to actually connect until the last moment. And he's going to march right up to the one that just attacked him. Right behind it. Position here. And then attempt to take a swing at it. And I'm going to use the sword to turn this into a melee attack, a spell attack.
Well, it's going to hit.
All right. So it's going to deal firebolts damage plus 2d6 plus 4. As the sword wreaths in fire, and then he slams it directly into the target. For 16 points of damage, and as a bonus action, is going to consume a 3rd level spell slot and charge the sword.
You've all seen Barry fight a few different times. He seems to be able to cast spells out of his sword and their favor. Some spells, anyway, favors. So this flaming great sword hits down on the creature hard. Oh, I'm sorry. You note as you are watching, or as the blow hits, the creature seems to ignore the fire completely.
Okay.
Only your actual blade sinks in and does any damage whatsoever. But your blade still does hit.
He'll notably call out, "These things seem to as well deal with fire quite well."
Gonna be the most organized fighting party.
This other one is going to hop down before
Gipre just takes that little notebook and just starts
moving over towards Gipre, making 2 attack.
Oh no, how dare.
First one missing. Second one glancing off
Also
of your
misses.
shield as you block the claw. All right, coming back up to the top. We're back with Basil. I'm gonna switch between Basil and Basil like every time.
It's okay. Basil sees Barry get hit by this weird thing, and he went from looking for Barry's approval to suddenly being like, "Did you just hit my dad?" And he's going to run this way and take the AOO. If the monster wants to take it,
they will make.
Cool. I will use my reaction to use my evasion.
Uncanny
Not
dodge.
evasion. Uncanny dodge, not evasion. My mistake.
So you take
3.
I remember how that works.
He's not bothered. He doesn't care. Okay, he's got to go protect his man. And he's gonna see if he can. How much taller is this than Basil? Would you say he's like barely 4 foot something?
Not quite twice your height, but a little bit taller than Barry.
Can he try to jump up onto its like running jump up onto its shoulders and like stab into his back with a short
Yeah.
sword?
Of course.
Cool.
As it's turned to face Barry, you come up, leap, go ahead and make your. We'll determine whether or not that's.
Still using a short sword.
Yeah, you come down as your short sword sinks into the creature. Go ahead and roll damage with sneak attack. Barry's up with you.
8 plus 15, 23.
Right.
He loves his dad. Okay.
Your short sword sinks deep into the shoulder. You rip it back out. Some glitter spattering across Barry's plate band. Barry, deep inside, you know that this is never coming off.
He makes a quick sign that literally just says gold star to Basil.
He's just like he's like hissing at and drooling all over this monster. He's like, "Don't hit my dad! I'll gut you." And that's my turn.
Okay. You still have a bonus action too if you want to dual wield or anything like that.
Sure. Actually, you know what? Why not? Yeah, we'll try to put the other short sword in his other shoulder. Try to give him some wings.
That's gonna hit.
Cool. Nothing special this time. Just 11 piercing damage.
That's more of a double
pretty good.
double stab action. It's both short swords.
Yeah, it just comes in both at the same time.
I like to imagine there's a delay, and then Barry does another sign for 2 gold stars.
Right. Crystalline Devil that is Ilya, who had previously been fighting Hen'thristis. They're actually going to use their spray. Well, you only get Gipre.
Oh no, not again.
I need the two of you to make me more dex saving throws.
Oh no.
They saw this was
No.
effective.
They have a hive mind that's like, these are the slowest people we've ever tried to kill.
I am very slow, that is true.
Yeah, you both are very slow. So those 2 fails take drops worth of damage. 21. That's a really good 7d4 roll. You take 21 points of piercing damage as more of these crystalline slivers launch out towards you.
I want to get hit by this crystal spray.
I think in that case, I'm going to. So I have the repulsion shield infusion active, and I think that I'm going to use that reaction. Does it count as a melee attack since it's like fragments, or does it not?
No, it is not. It is.
Okay. All right.
Giver. So. If anything, it would be a ranged. All right. That's its turn as it gears up to get ready to do some claws. Hen'thristis. Basil has left you to go reinforce Barry, but you are still facing down this one, which is bloodied.
Literally the opposite of the way that you should handle a fight. He like has a moment of thinking about what to do, in which he uses his offhand blade to really just be a distraction, and the right hand blade, he inverts it and he slices the top of his ear, and as the blood sprays out, it starts to crackle with red electricity, which draws along the blade, and I will Crimson Right for lightning. I'm going to max roll this damage. No, that's not bad. All right, so I take 4, and then my main sword is lightning now.
That's a sick description.
Yeah, I forgot that it did damage. I was going to do something else, and I'm like, oh no, I have to hurt myself. I'll just cut my ear. That's that's a 14 hit.
No, 14 just barely misses. That's a crit. And by the way, I just want to clarify: Booming Blade is thunder damage. If you were trying
Yeah, I
to
don't
do-
have a Thunder
Okay.
Right option.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
But it's close. That's what they
It
were
is
thinking
close.
about. Is like, is it worth to lightning this? And yeah, it's not going to be that bad. All right, then that, and then 2 Humancraft dice as well. So a total of 18 points of damage is the second one. Like, the lightning kind of quickens the blade a little bit, and it powers straight down through.
Okay. It cuts deep into the creature, and you think perhaps if you had landed your other blow, it might have felled it, as the creature is kind of not bleeding, but weeping this glittery ichor out of it. However, it is not Gipre's.
All right. So, couple things I'm gonna do.
Oh,
First
one
of
sec.
all,
Sorry, Jack. Didn't you have extra attack and then unarmed?
I use my bonus action to Crimson Rod.
Right. Go
But
ahead.
thank you.
yeah, good catch. All right. Gipre's not looking so hot, you guys. So, first of all, she mad at this crystal creature that just hit her or tried to swipe at her that she blocked with her shield. So she's going to strike out with her hammer of Mira. And with that, I'm going to use a blessed strike as part of that, so I get to add a D8 of D8 radiant damage to that if it hits. So go ahead and attack. Oh no, that's not gonna hit.
Unfortunately, your hammer strikes into the ground.
I'm doing terrible. Okay, well that's my action. Sad. In the meantime, I'm gonna cast as a bonus action Mass Healing Word. We will do it we're gonna do it at 4th level because Gipre is not doing so great. So all of you guys can take hit points from this. So you get 9 healing.
Yeah, everybody heals.
Hen'thristis like gives you a very genuine and sincere smile. In like, there's just these moments where he drifts out of the fight that he's having to like acknowledge something, and it's just like a really nice smile.
He has a slightly bloodied smile back.
He's also quite injured, but
And then she's gonna sidestep. She's not gonna leave the attack, but she's gonna move over this way to get out of that cone option for that one that's cursed. And that is her turn.
Gipre unfortunately misses, but then holds their hammer aloft, casting Mass Healing Word on the party. Beginning. By the way, if at this point in time, if anybody wants to make an Arcana or Religion check to know a little bit more about these creatures, you may do so. You've been fighting them for. But it is Ilya's turn.
All right. And you said that the one that is fighting Hen'thristis looks almost downed, whereas the ones surrounding us are much better off.
Yeah, in terms of damage, it goes kind of starting at the bottom, counterclockwise in terms of most to least injured. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's such a funny way to describe.
Yeah, with a very complete answer too. In that case, I think Ilya looks at this creature that's just recently did quite a bit of damage, and then just about faces to look at the one that's attacking Hen'thristis. And very carefully, they are not looking at Hen'thristis even as they cast Eldritch Blast to attack the one that Hen'thristis had made a big deal about. Let's focus this one. And so, let's see how Eldritch Blast goes before I even describe it. We'll just say it fizzles out if it.
That's it. That's just barely a miss.
You get 2 blasts
That's correct.
because of your level.
Okay. And so the first one fizzles. Can't remember what invocations I took that affected my blast, and it's too slow to switch tabs, so I won't even bother. See what happens with the second one. No, it's even worse because that's
So
my
sad.
roll tonight. Yeah, it just fizzles, and they just shrug and like kind of hoping that Hen'thir didn't even notice they about faced right back to face the one that they were after.
You don't feel judged.
Yeah. They never looked at Hen'thir, so even if they're being judged, they have no idea.
But you'd feel it. His judgment is so powerful that you would feel it.
Alright. Yeah, that's... I've already used my bonus action for the other thing, and I didn't move, so my other bonus action is out.
Okay.
Trying to see if there's...
I'm just checking your stuff to
see if there's anything that
see
fixes
if we can
yeah,
get you a
thanks.
+1 in there somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it like, how is there no +1 to that freaking Eldritch Blast? But there's nothing. All the Eldritch Blast modifications are like reduction or make them better.
Yeah, if I had been thinking about it, if I had more time, Ilya unfortunately was finished a little bit late, so I didn't do full magic items. So that might
You're
change.
polite
in between.
about that.
That might change in between sessions. I might give you a spell attack. But for now, those two miss as your Eldritch Blast, perhaps due to your changing stance with your former patron, seem to fizzle and not launch out and do any damage. You still have movement if you would like to move at all.
Hit.
Yep. This one is going to feeling like Barry is not that threatening, is going to do an about face and launch a pair of claw attacks against Basil.
Am I not still attached to him?
No, not in fiction. Maybe
Okay.
maybe you are in fiction, but not in mechanical terms.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, what if I just like steered him around and just sat on his shoulders and made him walk away?
I think its arms are such that it can like claw you.
Like
Fine.
a lot, yeah, understandable. First one misses, the second one hits.
Right.
The
second one actually hits you really good. I think he probably like grabs your neck
Barry-
almost and like
Barry will
rips you off.
reach out a hand, and as this thing is about to hit them, just this enormously strong gust of wind begins to billow and force the blade entirely back. And I'm going to use Projected Ward. I'm going to absorb all 16 points of damage.
Which ability is this again?
Projected Ward from the Abjuration Wizard.
We see Barry's arcane ward seem to like reach forward in order to block the damage of the blow, absorbing the claw attack. Well, the claw attack rather. Although almost completely eliminating ward. So that's that one's turn. This one to move slightly.
What?
And it will use. Sorry. Yeah. It's going to use its crystalline spray again.
Against just me?
Just you, yeah.
Alright. I failed this on a natural 1, otherwise I succeed. Just so you know that I have a +13 to my deck saves.
So you're
Gee,
still
I
going
wish
to
I
take.
had a +13.
You're going to take
That's
half.
why I was laughing about it, because it's still like not an insignificant amount of damage, but
Lucky it doesn't seem like these things can do it. That. Speaking of which, Hen'thir, you note that these creatures appear to be demons of some flavor, although you're not that familiar with these ones in particular. You think perhaps they're a bit rarer. Um, uh, Gipre, you get a very similar read off of the Basil. You know nothing. You're just like, it's a monster. And while you're thinking about that, it is Barry's turn.
I'd love to say Barry is a very complicated fighter, but I think he's just mad this thing tried to attack his functional son, and is just going to bring down his sword, this time covering it sheathed in ice. The broad blade seems to cover in frost, and I'll see if it hits.
That does hit, just barely.
Okay, and then this is going to deal 3 from the arcane blade. So 25 points of damage, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet. As Barry just brings the haft of this, like, blade into the back of this thing.
With this blow, this crystalline devil is also bloodied. The cold kind of crackling up its shoulder where you land the blow, cutting deep into it, pulling back. Back at you. Do so. Any bonus action movement?
No, I think he's just trying to catch this thing's attention as much as he can.
Gotcha. Well, you certainly have it now. This one fighting Gipre is actually going to ignore you and move towards Basil.
I hit it with my hammer. Try to hit it with my hammer.
Yeah, you can make an attack.
Yeah.
He's just a little guy.
What did Basil do to get all this unwarranted aggression? Besides
Hey!
murder?
I hit!
That does hit.
Yay.
He's just this big.
He's just doing a lot of damage every attack, right? That's the problem.
Can I pump one of my blessed strikes into that, even though it's a reaction?
I think that you just always get that.
Okay. Then I'll...
Double check.
Yeah, so 3 mortal damage and then 4 radiant damage.
Yeah, so as long as you haven't used it already.
On my turn, yeah. Okay.
It has to hit for it to go.
Sweet.
7 points of damage, going from uninjured to slightly injured. As it gets up to you, Basil is going to claw attack you. So. All right.
Those both missed.
Those both missed. Really.
Andrew's like, why did I give Basil all these items?
Right. No, you have an appropriate AC for
Andrew's rolling okay because I'm getting hit by every attack. So,
one person has to be the punching bag every
yeah, it balances out.
So it abandons Gipre, taking a hit in the process, moving towards you, and then but quick with your eyes, you notice this and definitely dodge out of the way. The last strike only glancing off of your studded leather. So that's its turn, and we are now back to Basil. Basil, you find yourself slightly surrounded.
He's seeing this happen, and he sees Barry like cleave the guy in front of him, so he just like lets go of his swords and is just gonna jump on the other guy instead. And this time he has like all these daggers like on various secret pockets, pouches, belts. He's full of knives, truly. So I feel like he's just gonna jump onto this second one here and use his breakaway daggers,
Okay.
like in like both like main and offhand.
Okay.
He's using everybody as a jungle gym, basically.
That's gonna hit.
Which is 22 and 15.
That's also good. I won't bother with the Constitution saving throws because unfortunately they are immune to being poisoned and they're immune to poison damage. So your daggers sink into the creature. They still do their normal damage.
Okay. That is 14 piercing.
So they sink in, and then as you pull away, you come back with only hilts, the blades still embedded into the creatures. But where normally you would expect them to start like clawing at their wounds to try to take them out, they don't seem to be affected by the poisoned blades and just continue to towards you.
Good to know. Awesome. And I already used my bonus action for the offhand, so I'm just gonna stay where I am. And that's my turn.
Right. The one next to Ilya is going to they're going to claw Ilya twice. Actually, no. They're going to move on Barry, ignoring Ilya as well.
Can Ilya take their opportunity attack?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and they're also going to take, as they do that, they're going to take the booming damage, right? Or did that not hit? I can't remember which one.
Booming blade, you have to have your action to do that, unless you have a warcaster.
No, I couldn't remember if my last booming. I thought my last booming hit, but maybe it didn't.
No, you didn't.
It did, but that was more than a turn ago. That was your first round.
You
round.
Eldritch
You
Blast
used Eldritch Blast.
on turn.
Yeah.
All
right.
It only lasts till the end of.
Yeah, then I will just do a straightforward longsword attack in that case, as it passes by me.
I think that hits.
Maybe I'll do a straightforward longsword attack.
Yes,
we'll see.
It does hit. Did the math in my head.
Okay. Yeah. So it's almost a lazy attack. Like, they're not really convinced they actually want to draw its ire. But almost by, like, a fluke of the fact that this thing is moving and that they actually do know how to use their weapon, it hits.
You're like, I roll damage.
I am, theoretically.
6. Deal.
They're still cursed, though, right?
That's true.
So they take an extra, I think, 4
2.
damage due to my proficiency.
Oh, yeah, that's true. 10 total. Taking more wounds than it was expecting, but it's already saying this to Barry, so it's going to try to claw you twice.
They call out, kill that one.
The second one just barely hits.
You mean because you can't shield it? I was like, your AC is not that high. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it hits you, but it also, since it's attacking you from behind, and another one is next to it, it's a sneak attack. As these things, part of the reason why I have these things kind of deftly. The first one kind of just
as it does that, the shield that seemingly protects Barry breaks, and he just raises up a hand to it, and then a bunch of the crystalline gems all over the armor seem to light up suddenly. He lifts one hand off the sword, and just a massive arcane explosion consumes what hits him. And it's just going to take... You didn't type the damage, 22 force damage?
Yes. Your whatever the initial ward is.
Yeah, Plate of the Abjurer.
Okay, yeah. The ward back onto the creature as they shatter it. The magic channeled out from these gems on your plate mail. It does become bloody by that. However, you have used that at least for. All right. And Hen'thristis' turn. There, it looks like you guys are winning. The tide seems to be going in your favor. However, you are still facing again.
Sure, I will hit it with my lightning scimitar. Hopefully.
One. No.
Nope. I'll hit it with my extra attack. Hopefully.
My favorite of the options for the ones. That will hit. The magic number is 15. Even.
Yeah. for 9 damage.
Okay.
Is it still alive?
But it's still up. Yeah, it wasn't quite enough. Although it is on the edge.
I really wanted this thing to die. Alright, I guess I'll just attack it with my bonus attack.
Sure.
I'm thinking about if that misses, if that's bad. Alright, yeah, I'll just attack it again.
Yeah, that's gonna hit. Certainly.
For 8 points of damage.
Yes. Okay. You slash into it. As you do so, it seems to kind of almost start to shrink, like shrink wrap into until it is just a like large crystal lump sitting at your feet, still glowing slightly.
Right, and then I will move to, if I am correct, I had the ruler tool, so this spot?
Yes.
Is this behind the one that is hitting Barry?
Yep.
Okay, then yes. I'll move to that. And then my turn is.
Gipre. One of them
All right.
coalesces into a crystal. Hen'thir and I'm gonna say Hen'thir, Gipre, and Ilya. You can make Arcana checks if you like. Barry and Basil are quite distracted.
Nah, Basil's just fucking stupid.
What's better else? Hen'thir, Gipre, and Ilya. Actually, you all think that though the creature's current form has been defeated, you're probably going to have to crush the crystal, or you think that they're probably going to regenerate out of that, although it will probably take a little bit of time. Hen'thir, you think you have a couple rounds before it will coalesce back into be able to get up and actually attack you again. And if you want to change your action to not move, that's fine.
No, I'll still move, and we'll call out. Hen'thir will say as he's moving. We should crush the crystals once they become inert, lest they coalesce back into a more dangerous form. He kind of like gives a smile to Gipre, which is like also to Gipre's hammer, the most crystal crushing weapon that he can see.
She goes, all right, let me just patch myself up a little bit more quick and then I'll get right on that. She is going to do healing word herself. We will do it we'll just do it at 3rd level.
Ilya doesn't say anything because they're smart enough not to directly antagonize the healer, but they look over to the ground where Gipre had hit with the warhammer earlier and look back at the crystals, and they're not quite smiling, but it's almost there. You'll be good at this. It's obvious.
And then she's going to move down to that guy and try to swing at it. Hey, that's not bad.
That does hit, and your doesn't really matter how much damage this does, but for flavor, your divine matters slightly, but you're never gonna not do enough. Your divine blow. There's like a pause, half second, where you hit the crystal, and your blow doesn't follow through until like a split second later, where the crystal shatters all around the ground. And completely dead.
You could do it. Yes.
Ilya.
We believed in you.
So the two next to Barry are bloodied. The one next to Hen'thir is damaged, but not bloodied.
Ilya is going to take like an unusually ambling path. They actually step completely out of their way up to about here where I'm pinging, before they zero in, returning to the one that they've previously cursed. And this time, rather than cast Booming Blade, they're going to attack twice using Thirsting Blade. And we'll see how that goes. I should start playing while I'm on Maddie's turn.
To start making your rolls.
Yeah, just make my rolls while I'm on Maddie's turn.
The first one is a miss, unfortunately, just barely. Unless you think of a +1 you would have somewhere. But the second one
I'm
does hit.
wondering if that one already include the +1 that you had said that the sword was, or is...
Yes, I did add that to the.
Okay, yeah, because I have an indication on the thing, but yeah, okay, then that's probably already outlined out.
Oh, let me. Is it invocation from Hexblade? Maybe.
Yeah, let me look at it. It was really twitchy when I was putting it on there earlier.
No. That doesn't stack, unfortunately.
Okay, got it. Then yeah, so the second one hits. Now let me roll damage, one day. And then as soon as they've finished striking, they come back. They just look at the creature, and they tilt their head back, and they take it's like they're taking a step back, but rather than them actually step back and provoke that attack, they just appear where they had ambled before with their boots of the winding path.
Nice.
That's the best item name.
It is so great.
Just want to say that's a great item name.
It's an infusion, so it's a really nice infusion.
Yeah, so Ilya goes around about, splashing at the creature twice, and then almost seeming to completely backtrack to where they were in an instant. That turn is sandwiched between the two bees, Barry and Basil.
I think all that damage, it doesn't add my...
They're two
You should really
bees.
just call them the Hive.
The boys.
This was going to
I think it
attack
doesn't add it,
Barry
by the way.
twice. Actually, I'll make the 1, 2. 1 hit. Killed it. 2 hit.
I'm going to cast Shield and both miss. As Barry just raises up a hand, and again, this extremely strong gust of wind seems to completely absorb all of the blow.
Like a boom, boom, as it attempts to strike through the shield, but fails to do. It's then going to be your turn. I did get the curse damage, but thank you.
I think Barry sees the fight's going pretty well and is like, I'll save spells for later. And it's just going to keep beating the shit out of the one they've been beating the shit out of with another ray of frost attack. That hits. So it's going to be that plus 2d6 plus 5. So 16 cold damage, and they're just going to keep hammering into this thing. No bonus action. They're going to keep their spells.
This one into just its crystal, its back crystal, seeming to almost suck itself up. Is downed into its crystal form. It's relatively uninjured once turn. I think it's sneak attack now. So I'm going to attack Hen'thristis, who has followed it.
What? Oh, dude.
So nonchalant. Just like, oh darn.
Oh jeez.
Hitting you once.
Hold on. I'm doing maths for if I can be bothered reacting to the first one. It only is effective if I roll a 6, so I guess I won't. And just take the 11.
It turns.
If I had killed the other thing, it would have been better, and then maybe I would have done it. But...
And it's Basil's turn.
Basil's gonna see that his special daggers didn't seem to do much of anything other than just get stuck in him. Him being the fine gentleman that has the rocks on him. And he's kind of mad about it, so he's just gonna go back to just stabbing it with his rapier. He's trying to get him at the knees and the ankles, and that's not gonna go very well for him, unfortunately.
You boom into a crystal right at its knee that's kind of jutting out. Your rapier not managing to find its mark.
SMH. And then I'm gonna bonus action, disengage, and run over here.
Backing away.
And that's it.
Got
I
it.
suspect that didn't make a difference for that attack, but I don't think it's ever right that Basil's attacking with only a +5. I feel like
you're
it
right.
might not be
It would still be
dex.
a miss, but it is not adding.
Just for the future when difference will matter.
True.
Okay, should be fixed now. So that turns into a 13, which is still
Still a miss.
not by as much. All right, this cursed one. Make a roll real quick. Is going to it's gonna clock. Missing the first one, glancing against your armor. The second one just.
I feel like it's the same deal. Barry is just sort of like impermissibly watching it try to get past the armor.
Thank you, boy. Can't hit him.
Hen'thristis has taken enough damage, but is also trying to make sure that Gipre is not targeted. So we'll move to behind this thing. And as he walks, maybe Gipre's the only one that notices, but the leather strap that's holding his ponytail in place snaps, and his hair like fluffs out a little bit, and I'll activate one of my features to get a +1 AC. And you can kind of see like a tint of gold on the outside of his very grey hair. But he also is making a slight little growl as he does it, and then he just lashes out twice with his scimitar. This one.
We've unlocked Hen'thristis' first form.
Second form. No, third form because I did a lightning guitar.
That's true. Third form. We're all the way to form 3 already.
Wow.
Well, there's 6 more if we level up.
Oh boy.
So,
Both of those hit.
There's 4 more. I'm just going to click damage and then the lightning damage on top. Man, I roll d6s very well.
You do roll these sexes pretty well.
Does
All right, I rolled
span in the gamut.
2 1s and 2 6s.
It averages
Yeah,
out,
so
it's
24.
Yeah,
These-
statistically.
I'm happy with doing 24 damage every turn.
With these 2 blows, the creature becomes bloodied as, with your slightly enhanced self, you cut, slashing deeply into it, glittery ichor, painting the ground beneath you. It's then Gipre's turn.
All right. Seeing that there is another thing to smash, she is going to step around, even though Hen'thristis didn't want her to be targeted. She knows she is good at smashing something, so she's by God, she's gonna try to smash this other one that's down. So
Gipre's over
she's
here
gonna
playing
move-
Whack a Crystal.
Never said no in a game of Smash or Pass.
She's gonna move over to this one. She is going to smack away with her hammer.
Oh, yeah. shattering another one. Your warhammer with its emerald is now covered in thin, glittery crystal from these fallen foes.
And then she's gonna clasp her holy symbol of mirror on her chest, and she's going to do another mass healing word for the party. We will do it at 4th level. Oh, that's so sad. Well, 7 healing to everybody who wants it.
I mean, your healing is keeping me from being below 50% hit points, which is sometimes relevant.
Great.
The only person unaffected is Basil, who had healed back to full from you.
Okay, and I think Ilya's too far away. So I think it's only 30 feet for mass healing word. Oh, it is 60 feet. Just kidding.
I'm always happy to take free HP.
Just
I'm
kidding,
always...
it's 60 feet. We're good.
Ilya.
I think regular healing word's only 30 feet.
Sounds
That's my
probable.
turn.
Ilya once more saunters a far distance out of the way, because despite the fact that I feel like these boots of binding should have a limit on them, they don't say it. They do.
Oh, it is.
So yeah, saunters completely like a full triangle out of the way before attacking twice once more. Because I have bad enough luck right now that I don't even want to try my booming blade. One attack.
What hit?
Maybe. Woo!
2 hits.
Wonderful. And then that's, let's see, what's +3 on the damages for those.
You mean +4?
Yeah. Thank you.
We are truly a death of 1,000 cuts party.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just do so many tiny, like, small cuts to these people.
This one too, with the second slash, as you kind of draw your longsword across its chest, up into the crystal. That seems to be its matrix almost. Blessing. Any?
Since I'm close enough to watch this one die, do the discrete parts of crystal bit? Do any of them look about 5 pounds or less?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Ilya stepped
I'm
out of the
assuming
way
this
once
is
more.
for catapult.
I mean, I feel like
Very familiar.
that would be an
with
entertaining
spell.
way to destroy the new one with the old one.
That would be funny. There's a certain irony in killing a guy with his friend.
I'm gonna do it, and then Gipre's too good at smashing.
There's a large crystal behind you, but then the one still standing. Fear and Gipre.
Oh, I take the health for that too. Cool.
Barry's just gonna saunter up to this one and keep doing what he's doing because it's working. Why break what isn't broke, man?
Why waste the spell slots?
Oh,
That one unfortunately misses as the creature.
yeah.
Dark Souls dodge rolls out of your greatsword's path,
You're an Elden Ring invader now to these people.
Oh,
throwing
no.
it to the side.
He's gonna stare at this thing as well, and he's just gonna like point at its claws and then point at his armor and then let out the biggest, heartiest laugh he can.
It will.
Off my AC and the actual tank appears.
It will meet your taunt. Oh, hey, this one never used its thing. It's actually gonna do a crystalline spray.
Nat 20, Barry fucking dies.
The funniest way for him to go out.
Cleric.
Yeah.
He said, ha ha ha.
It's gonna take some
dies.
attacks of opportunity to circle around.
Ooh, smash.
Oh, I never get the opportunity. God damn it!
I will also smash it. Well, slash it.
No, I don't smash it again.
It's a roll.
That's my
Lot
You're
of
second
really
ones.
good when they're down. That's the thing.
Yep.
You do hit. Very strong. 11 points damage. That's actually not bad. It is now bloodied.
We have rolled an inordinate amount of nat ones this session. It is.
It's a little uncanny how many nat ones this whole
Hoping
party
it
has
stops,
had.
dude.
Yeah, I would like it too.
Thing says that
Can only hit 2 people.
Hen'thir is too far, so it will hit Gipre and Basil then, or Barry.
All
Sorry,
right, let's see. Wow, that's even worse.
thought I could get Hen'thir, but I couldn't.
No.
That's fine. I'm
Good
still
thing
at
I've been
almost
healing.
max HP.
Two of you take 14 points of damage as it unloads its.
Oh wait. The ward will break again, but Barry is fine with that.
All right. Basil.
Oh, whoops.
Basil sees this happen again, and he's like, "What the fuck did I just say, dude? Like, don't hit my dad." And he's gonna run. He's gonna run up. I think this is the one on his left is the one that still has the swords in him, like his back. Correct. The body didn't move while I was away.
The blades are clattered on the floor because that one was
Okay.
Gipre destroyed.
He's gonna pick those up, and then just rush him. He's like, dude, like. He doesn't say anything. He can't talk, but you know, the rhetoric is there.
The feeling, the intonation of the mind.
It's the emotion.
Both of those hit.
Oh, don't you?
The crit. I don't crit on a 19 with short swords, only with my rapier.
Okay.
I know. Do I not get sneak attack though?
You do, because there's multiple creatures.
Yeah.
So that's
16 plus 16 is.
That's
30.
enough to suck it back up into its housing matrix. The two of them are not dead, but they're not going to get. The one's not going to revive before the whole party is going to go again. So, Gipre steps up and smashes the one, and I think the rest of you wait for them to finish the job on the fourth one.
Well, unless Ilya's going to catapult one somewhere.
Yeah,
like into a wall.
Gipre's like, do you want the last one? I'll let you have the last one.
You've done well so far.
I feel like Basil's tempted to try to Basil's tempted to put a crystal in his mouth, but he's going to refrain. They're probably not very edible.
Barry's just gonna give Basil a slightly too hard pat on the back for knocking the other one down. You know?
Yeah.
I end my Crimson Rite by sheathing it, which cleans the blade of the blood as well. In my custom-made sheaths from 700 years ago, and look down at my robes that are just covered in claw marks, and I'm just bleeding through them.
Yeah, they're also glittery. You are all. It looks like you just came out of a some kind of nightclub or rave. But conveniently, there is a nearby stream.
He has a bunch of layers of robes, so you can't even tell that it's that ripped until he's pulling a hole open.
Ilya, this time, rather than sauntering all around the map, just approaches Hen'thir in the same marching order that they had when they came in, just resumes that position, and then looks over at Hen'thir and reaches out a hand and hesitates, and then slaps a hand on the cloth and casts Mending on one of the terrors, the worst. And it's probably something that they have not demonstrated that they can do before.
Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. These robes cost me upwards of 1 gold.
Ilya chuckles and...
Is anybody else hurt super badly?
No.
Yes. Anyone other than me? I don't know.
I can come over. I'm gonna come over and pat your shoulder with my hand, and you're gonna get cure wounds.
When you go to reach up, Hen'thir will duck down to make it a more accessible reach for you.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate that. Oh, you know what I have messed up on is if I do healing. Oh wait, I'm gonna do my special thing. where I cast a healing spell from the hammer, so I can heal for the maximum amount possible.
Oh, nice.
Once per short rest. So I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna do cure wounds on you. Where is it? How far down are you?
40 or something? 33.
Okay. Oh no, I don't have cure wounds prepared. I have mass cure wounds prepared, but not regular cure wounds. How about a healing word?
What?
I will take whatever blessing you and Mira choose to confer upon me.
Okay, I will do. Oh no. I will do my last third level healing word, but you just get the maximum number of healing for it. So ignore that 9. So you get 12 plus 4. So you get 16 hit points back.
Nice.
In the meantime, can Basil just are these crystals smashed into a fine powder, or are they just in like very many small pieces? He's muted. Just kidding.
And what's the translucency like on them? Like, are they slightly clear? Like, do they look like rock candy or?
Sorry. Repeat the question.
You're fine. Are the crystals like that have been smashed? Are they like a powder now, or are they just like very very tiny little shards?
There's some like fist-sized chunks in there that you could pick up.
Basil's gonna pick some up and put them in a bag, like in one of his pouches. He's just in case.
Okay.
Just in case. You never know. They look so nice.
Can I make some kind of roll to work out what these crystals, what their aim was, like what they were after?
Yes, you can make me an Arcana check, and
If this is
it's Arcana.
if this is a fiend, can I make a religion check on what kind of things these are?
I think you guys already failed that.
No, I made an Arcana check once when I saw Barry look at it.
You didn't make one when I asked everybody to roll.
No, you said I couldn't because of being distracted.
No, there was a time
There was
before
an
that.
earlier one.
Oh no, then I didn't make one yet. No.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just checking my many features that affect these things, but I think none of them will affect this one.
Ilya's watching. Oh, go ahead.
Barry will also throw guidance on himself. I don't know if it'll matter, but Mary's not.
Okay. As you guys are looking over this, the rest of you actually think that given not really time of day because you're underground, but how long you've been traveling already, and that this is an open cavern with a bright stream, you seem to have defeated the enemies in the area. It'd be a good time to make camp while the others are inspecting these. I think you kind of reminisce on your initial taking of the job. Some of doing out here. So we're gonna take a quick 15-minute break. Come back at the top of the hour, unless you guys would prefer 20.
15.
15. Okay. And we'll do some. I'll answer the roles, and we'll actually do some flashbacks a little bit to establishing things in. But we'll be back soon. Don't go anywhere. Just a minute. Hello again, everybody. Back into it. So the party has just defeated a number of what they now know to be crystalline devil. These are a kind of demon. So both Barry and Fear figured this out after examining the remains, thinking about the fight. Crystalline devils, they're kind of like they tend to be like ambush soldiers amongst the demons. They will hold, or they will be stationed at like critical intersections that the demonic forces want to hold or keep secret or something like that for whichever reason. Lying in wait, blending in with the natural line fissures surrounding. And they are very, very hard to spot. They are just staying there, not moving or anything like that. They appear to be part of the crystalline structure. Even their skin is very stone colored, so they just blend around. And you saw, I think, and know most of their abilities. They do commune telepathically. You would know, although short range.
Well, Barry is sort of like recanting this off and discussing it with Hen'thristis. They're also going to be casting Liamon's tiny hut to take a rest in.
Okay.
And they'll just cast it ritually.
Quickly casting that as the others get the water, clean themselves off. And, somebody lights a fire of some.
As we're talking about it, I think Hen'thristis says to Barry, Barithil, it seems like he's or maybe a front force. My
Yes,
brain can't come up with stuff.
That would make the most sense. I mean, demons this early on, normally they're in bigger groups too, ambush groups.
It would act as a deterrent to some less competent adventurers, and they might not understand that these are likely a precursor to maybe what is causing the earthquakes.
And to those less intelligent, it may even act as bait for prey that they know they could take down in larger groups to come forward.
But seems like we're on the right track. He's been kneeling this whole time, like looking at some of the crystals, and he pushes himself up, and he like pushes himself up really slowly, like to his feet. Says, I think I need some tea. Would you like some?
I would be delighted.
So I'll walk over to wherever the fire's set up, and I think he has a teapot that's like an assassin's teapot, but the bottom half he brews a healing potion in for himself, and the top half he brews normal tea. Like it's just a repurposed poisonous tool.
You found it somewhere. I'm like, I could.
Barry thinks if it is poison, they'd be fine. They can deal with poison.
Gladly accepts a cup of tea and just goes and kind of sits and kind of pokes at, holds the tea in one hand and kind of pokes at some of the crystal shards on the ground in front of her.
They glow still a little bit faintly with like some trace magical entities inherent to the creatures. Although you think they're probably not worth very much.
Can we take a short rest?
I think we're taking a long rest.
You guys are actually
because it's
taking a long
nighttime.
rest.
Okay.
This is happening towards the end of the day. Traveling, so maybe a little bit early to stop, but you might not hit another suitable chamber. It's a little bit better than just camping. As you guys bed down, you kind of think this is actually the third battle that you've been in coming in here. The first two were quick, simple affairs. In theory, you didn't even activate your rights in it. This is the first combat that has really challenged. but you have seen other demons. What feels like a lot for how relatively close you still are to Karad, although you know that these tunnels that you're currently traversing in are not as well patrolled. And you have been going for about 5 days now. So you're pretty deep down in the ground. Less traversed section. And as you all are sitting down, one of you preparing food, you kind of think back to when you were gathered journey. Basil and Barry, the two of you have question. What is your kind of day-to-day look like? Kind of just hang around at
It depends
bars?
if it's like a work day for them or if they're just like hanging out like at the house.
This is like
Because
a
if it's like
hangout day.
I feel like Barry's like a 10th level caster, right? Like they've got money to spare in Karad. They've done their fair share of adventures. They've got their arcane knowledge. They've got like a pretty nice tower in the city. And I feel like just like the top part of the tower is converted to like a hangout pad specifically for Basil, right? To like hang off things from the ceiling, you know?
The man cave. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Basil spends most of his time just organizing and reorganizing and then reorganizing his little kleptomania collection of stuff he's just gathered.
feel
He'll
like-
organize it by worth, then by color, then by size. Just kind of trying to figure out what he likes the most.
Most days Barry will come back from the market with just more random like handfuls of shiny objects of like different little artificers have made and like throw them on the ground for Basil to have a go at, you know?
Yeah. He does little puzzles and they probably played silly board games together all the time.
Yeah.
Basil's very bad at them, but he tries his best.
Yeah, Barry's very good about like intentionally not winning too hard, you know?
As you are kind of hanging out and doing this, you down below hear a knock at your front door. Heavy fist sounds, maybe even gauntleted to Basil's tuned ear.
A little, what looks to be a small perched cat on Barry's shoulder will suddenly leap down and run towards the door. Barry's going to look through their familiar and have it like look through the eye hole of the door.
You see you have to use the dwarf eye hole. As you see a plate mailed dwarf carrying a great axe strapped to their back. They're dressed in plate mail of a level that only either a lord of some kind or a particularly experienced adventurer would have the coin to spend on. Almost certainly enchanted, possibly made out of mithril or adamantine, although that's not Barry's specialty.
Barry will look to Basil and say, "It seems we have company, friend. Somebody."
He goes to reach for a knife, like, yeah, this company, like what kind of company are we talking?
Barry looks away and then points to their pocket and is like, "This kind of company."
Okay. He's just like, he gives a thumbs up and he puts his hood on. He has like a hood with his cloak. He's going into his I'm a silly little kobold orphan mode.
I feel like Barry has like a specific like spot or like armor piece or around the house if like Basil wants to perch on their shoulder, you know? They'll head down and open up the door.
Your large door to this fairly impressive tower swings open, and you see this dwarf kind of waiting. They're like mid foot tap when they see you and stop. Looking up you, they've got a big reddish brown beard, but their head is completely shaved, bald, and they're holding a helmet kind of under in the crook of their arm.
That is a fine beat, friend.
Thank you much. Am I right in finding the home of one Barithil. Calmiseran.
Oh, you would. And he's going to reach out like one big hand to shake.
It kind of clasps yours. She said, I've heard good things about you. I'm here on behalf of the Imghalad.
Hmm. You folks pay well.
Yes, and we have a job for you and your companion.
Well, besides payment, what is the job?
It's an expedition. You'll be heading down to the deep tunnels. I'll have more information for you, the meeting place, but it has to do with the earthquakes. You might have felt one. The last one 3 days ago.
I do have some concern. Earthquakes that large on that scale could threaten the city.
Imghalad thinks to have located the possible source.
Hmm.
We hope to hire a group of adventurers like yourself to go down there and do a preliminary scout. Eliminate the issue if you can, or report back if you cannot.
Well, we'll do our best, but trawling in the dark tunnels is our business. And they'll quickly turn around and like explain it in brief to Basil and say, "Do you have any?" It does like someone. Do you have any issues with like this? Do you have anything else you want me to request? Any information?
Nah, he just shakes his head. I mean, he'll probably walk up to the. He's probably behind Barry at first, and he just kind of like peeks behind, and he's like, "Oh wait, this guy's like basically my height. Hold on a second." So he's just kinda like, he's down. He seems invested in the concept.
I don't know if this is just. I feel like dwarfs, like there is pride too in hiring work. Like Barry doesn't need to worry if like they'll be compensated well or not. You know, this is like a military man.
Yeah, and you would know. I mentioned this at the beginning, but the Imghalad is well funded. It's like a bit of a nobles club, for the most part. So they certainly have the coin. Hire. You probably worked with them a couple times. They're
Well.
good for up and coming adventurers as well, because they'll give you relatively easy jobs for a relatively good amount of pay.
It's good, steady work. Yeah. Well, if you have the location, we'll be off when it's time.
You can meet your other companions at the Citadel. There'll be a representative there for you tomorrow in the morning.
Do you have a letter of seal or?
You could take my token, and he'll hand you a small silver ring, a signet on it. It's the seal of the Imghalad, although it has his kind of personal mark added underneath it. These are pretty hard to replicate, so you can be pretty confident that it'll be recognized as.
He'll hand it to Basil and say, "Make sure not to lose this. We'll need it later."
Just shoves it in his pocket instantly.
Then he's going to turn around and he's going to say, "Well, I have to get my armor ready, but I appreciate the forward."
Okay, we kind of fade out from there as the Imghalad member gives you like a curt salute before heading on down the street of one of the nicer neighborhoods in Rod. And we find ourselves at perhaps a slightly different location. I think this is a temple where we can see Gipre and correct me if I'm misremembering. Gipre and Ilya are. It's okay. Where we can see Gipre and Ilya. What are the two of you doing? It's middle of the day, like afternoon. You've probably already had lunch.
I think Ilya ended up with Hen'thristis.
Okay.
Unless this is a different part of this.
Maybe I've misremembered.
Yeah, Hen'thristis was tasked with watching Ilya, lest Ilya falls back to evil.
That's my bad brain. We did this the character creation a while ago, so
Yeah, because I think we had talked about it originally.
Yeah, Ilya and Gipre specifically. Ilya does not like Gipre.
Yeah.
Not
Got
because
it.
of anything Gipre did, but
Henthir does like Gipre. We cover every balancing spectrum, Ilya and Henthir.
I think in that case, perhaps Henthir and Ilya are visiting Gipre for some reason.
Sure.
So the three of you are at the temple, same time of day and everything. What are you guys doing or discussing?
So absolutely, we don't have days off. Like, Henthir's too old to have days off anymore. Like, he's had a lot of days off in his life, and he believes that like idle hands. So has to keep Ilya busy, but also is insightful enough to know that Ilya doesn't enjoy coming to the temple, so makes sure that it's part of their routine to like come to the temple.
to make them miserable on the routine.
No, learning experiences are not meant to make you miserable.
Ilya just stares at him, and the moment that they had entered, Ilya's entire posture got even stiffer, and they're watching the temple as though they expect something to come out of the shadows and stab them, which would not be unwarranted.
But I think they're there because on like the last journey down into the caves and stuff, the tunnels, we came across some like religious thing that Henthir knows is religious but doesn't know anything about religion, and just brought it to Gipre and be like,
Yeah, and
this-
Gipre's just like, I mean, I've just spent all of my time in the temple. I don't really go out on missions much, but I guess if you want me to come, I guess I can do that. Hi, Ilya.
Well-
She kind of has like a
Hello,
sarcastic smile.
Gipre. I trust you are having a wonderful day.
It's passable. The sun is shining. That's good.
Hmm.
The earth is still for the moment. That is also good.
Henthir sincerely is like nodding along at all the things that are good that you are listing.
Ilya just turns to watch Henthir nod and then looks back at Gipre and says, for now.
For now, that is all we can hope for.
Yes. All right. Optimism versus foreboding. It's funny every time. Yeah. We found a relief painted upon a wall that it shouldn't be particularly dangerous, though I'm sure you're more than capable if it is. And he starts describing it. It's like a relief to Mira that is probably not significant in any way to anything, but is something that he's like, I know that Gipre would be interested in this.
Yeah, go ahead, Gipre. Make me a religion check. I'll give you advantage on it. Specifically about your.
As Henthir is
dirty
describing,
20.
As Henthir is describing, despite Ilya's just utter desire to not be helpful at all, they find themselves inserting like small details, just because they've been paying attention to this kind of thing as they've started to craft and focus on what Anya told them was important about Cordal.
Yeah, 100% Henthir is like giving you the big picture, and the like carving notes are coming from Ilya.
The relief, as you describe it, depicts Mira, the goddess, kind of represented here as both a humanoid woman, but also like the mountains themselves, wrestling with a great dragon that seems to be made out of rock and clumps of earth, moss, and all these various other things. The relief shows them kind of taking the dragon by the neck, subduing them till they are asleep, and then kind of placing them forever in the lock hold. As you see them, the dragon symbolically resting beneath the mountain. At least that's how you interpret it. Gipre, you're kind of thinking about this, you've heard a story or a legend amongst some of the members of the priesthood of Mira about this kind of event. Supposedly, many of the gods in elder days had to wrestle with these sort of more primordial forces, which the dragons were said to represent, and banish them through whatever means to some kind of slumber. You're not sure if the story is meant to be more symbolical, or if there actually was ever such a dragon and that the guys did battle with, but you are familiar with the event. It's certainly interesting, although perhaps not something that the order would spend an exorbitant amount to recover. You're kind of relaying this information to them as one of your. They're less powerful than you, but they have seniority over you. They're like the next rung up above you in the priesthood. So they're not the head of this temple. Yes, sorry.
Before you move on, because I might have a feature that, since I made this relief, it feels weird. Can I, when Gipre is relaying the story, can I make a roll with Grim Psychometry to make a history check to recall information about a darker past surrounding an object? I have to be touching it. That's fine. In a different life, I'll go touch it and find it and have a look at it. It's like, I get advantage on this history roll.
I'll let you make the roll, and we'll think about, like, you did this in retrospect, and maybe the information is now being made clear to you.
Okay. There's so many Blood Hunter, like, things that are very specific, and I want to make sure I use at least some of them. So 24.
You see, when you had touched it, you had seen visions of, at first in your mind's eye, this utter darkness, and then a roiling rumble, the sounds of great teeth gnashing together, and you felt as though your whole body was vibrating by some force before the vision ended. And you feel as though it was this some after image of this dragon was touching through the carved relief.
All right. As Gipre's telling us, Hen'thristis doesn't add that information because it's really not a super useful piece of information. But there is a even further paleness to his skin as he remembers that feeling of deep darkness. But he will ask you appropriate questions because he's very interested in other people's knowledge about stuff.
So this older priest approaches the group with another dwarf in tow, familiar to the audience, although not to the player characters. The older priest is another dwarf by the name of Tarragon, and he approaches you and says, Gipre, I've got a man who wanted to speak with you. Well, he actually just wanted to speak with a member of the order, but I have directed him to you. You should get out more. He kind of just
thank you, Tarragon.
starts to walk away.
Thank you.
The dwarf looks between the man and you, and then at your companions, and he says, well met, Cleric Gipre. I am a member of the Imghalad. Looks at your companions. I can wait until your business is finished if you wish.
Oh, by all means, they are companions of mine. So please, whatever you need to say to me, you can say with them present as well.
Am I?
Well, you have the look of adventurers. You might be interested as well. The Imghalad is putting together a group to go and investigate earthquakes that have been going on. You might have felt recent one. We think we have pinpointed where they are coming from, but we want to send a team to scout ahead, possibly eliminate it, whatever the source may be, are able. We thought that a priest of Mira would be particularly useful on such an expedition.
The order wants to send me?
That is what Tarragon suggested.
Oh, all right. Okay.
You
You see her reach into her pocket, and you just see her kind of pull out a little ball of dirt, and just kind of holds it for a second, and then puts it back in.
glances at the dirt, glances back at you. You of course will be compensated. Will be Order of Mirror. Your companions also to join the journey. You may go with Gipre to Citadel in the morning tomorrow, right outside the doors of Half Helm. There will be a representative of the Imghalad who will give you maps and other supplies.
Thank you for your belief in what I can do for this adventure.
He gives you like a hard salute with a gauntlet hitting plate mail as he slams his fist into his breast.
She's a quick bow and kind of pulls her book to her chest.
He also gives you a ring token of the Imghalad bearing his personal seal before. He actually doesn't leave. He goes to one of the alcoves where there is a large crystalline structure that seems to be cut out of different kinds of gems. That is used an altar or a shrine part of this temple. It goes off there.
Well, it's an interesting and noble endeavor.
Huh?
Would you like?
This is I have not been on an adventure before. I kind of just have been in the temple. What do I need to pack?
Well, he goes like, he thinks for a moment and is like, well, how do I answer this? I don't know what clerics pack. And then he just says, well, when I was a soldier, we would pack a bedroll and some kind of canvas to form a tent, mess kit, rations, anything you need for your particular set of skills, weapon of some kind. I like to take tea. He like starts going into an old man story about one of his captains that used to like take tobacco everywhere. Like the first thing in his pack was tobacco.
Ilya just yawning through the half of your story.
But we will accompany you if that is what you wish. We did have a contract for tomorrow, but it was to take a noble scion of some human family to look for a crystal for an engagement ring. I would not be unhappy to break that contract.
That sounds rather boring, honestly.
It looks like they're going to protest, and then as Hen'thir like recites the details of the contract again, goes quiet and just nods.
Like a 22-year-old rich kid human. It's just
like Gipre, bratty human. Gipre, bratty human. That's not good.
The nice thing about Gipre is that they know that they can just wind them up and just do that continually, and Gipre probably won't lash out. Bratty human might do noble things.
Okay.
Yeah, you're short-lived enough that like a human threat is actually real to you. What's a human going to do to a dwarf or an elf? All right, we can have to do some. Ilya, as part of your experience in being taught and watched over by me, you can deal with the voiding of that contract.
Indeed. I trust that I can use my extensive skills to deal with this.
Yes, that would be a great use for your skills.
Ilya stopped because they're not sure that we're talking about the same skills. And then, with a very deep, completely unnecessary bow, says, "Would you like me to charge my my duties now, sir?"
Are you saying that you're going to charge Henthir for doing your job as part
No,
of this podcast?
discharge their duties. Go
Oh.
do the job.
Sure, yes. And we'll consider your visit to the temple for the month to be concluded.
They're trying to look sarcastic about it, but they are so genuinely relieved as they book it out of there.
As they leave, Gipre turns to Hen'thristis. It's good for them. They just don't think it is, but it's good for them. It's good for everyone, really.
Yes, I think that they are coming along quite well. But let's talk about the grand adventure that we shall be embarking on.
Yes.
And he'll hang around for as long as he's basically trying to make you feel more comfortable with it, but through just being very confident about everything.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, you kind of talk about bringing rations and
Actually,
she makes
we know
a
each
list.
other quite. Yeah. We know each other quite well, Gipre and Ilya, right? From before Ilya even.
Mm-hmm.
Then he probably until she is clearly wanting to do other stuff, he'll start telling stories about his order and things. And I will not tell one yet. But I think
patiently.
I think Gipre does know his full order and stuff.
Ooh.
The two of you past a couple hours at least talk and discussions. Ilya, Hugo, and I'm just curious, in what way do you attempt to discharge this contract?
Because nobody is actually with them, Ilya is fairly calm and polite about the whole thing. They don't actually like causing unnecessary trouble. So they will head to the scion of this. So who hired us? The parents or?
Yeah, the people that control the money, the parents.
I'm gonna say the parents. That makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay. And so Ilya will approach the parents, and they take the tack of you should be grateful we're not taking this contract. They apologize and then explain that they are uncertain that they can provide for the safety. And partly this is also just Hen'thir, you made me do this, and so let me trash our reputation just a bit.
The son who is sitting nearby seems a little bit relieved. It seems like they probably didn't want to go. They turn to their mother and say, "See, mother, now I can stay and I don't have to go and visit grandfather." Well, I suppose it can't be avoided, can it? Well, that's all right. Do you have anybody who you could recommend that might be able to take over your duties?
Ilya chuckles, and that it's just such a an abrupt change from the almost fawning nature that they had taken for a moment. I know of a few particular, but I'll do you the good service of not recommending them.
She seems confused and does not doesn't get what you're getting at. Very well. Jasper, would you come here, dear? And you see a gnomish fellow dressed in he looks like a butler. Fine clothes on, but it's clearly a uniform. In the particular colors. Yes, Mom. Uh, these adventurers that you hired, they are terrible. They can't do the job. I need you to hire other ones. Right away, ma'am. Right away, as he looks at you with the glare.
Ilya just
Turns.
smiles at him and then looks at the scion again and goes, "It is a pity. I have friends that would make great use of you," and just leaves on the.
The mom and son
So
like share a
terrifying.
look like, what was that?
I think Hen'thristis, when we return to the house that we share, probably writes a letter to the family to like apologize for abruptly like walking out, and offers a name of his like the next best person,
Sure.
and will offer to pay 25% of his fee for the inconvenience. Because Hen'thristis does get a lot of work from nobles, and it's like work that allows him to keep paying for Ilya to eat.
You make
I have a
persuasion
person
check.
in mind for who I'd like to recommend.
Sure.
But I think you know that person. So.
Recommends Meeple.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm so good at charisma.
I mean, the letter's like a little bit stiff, but it doesn't like, it kind of feels when you're reading it like, oh, they're kind of, they're making a lot of excuses. I mean, they're paying for it, but it's clear like they're just trying to salvage their reputation here. Who do you recommend? Just
I would like to recommend Old Bart,
okay.
who will be just awfully upset about this whole situation.
There's a brief cut to Old Bart, a person who the stream has never met before, but I won't describe here, but once I describe him, you'll look back on this and know. Of Old Bart escorting this young, annoying, bratty noble and just kind of cuffing him on the back of the head. Thank. Listen, boy, you have to go to your grandfather's. I'm not paid to listen to your whining. Back to the actual game that's happening. With that all done, the five of you head over to the Citadel, also known as Half Helm's Height, here in Korad. It kind of dominates the landscape. It's a tower that connects all the way up to the ceiling of this massive cavern. Is both the seat of government and the primary, I will say, the last bastion of the city. As you enter into this large courtyard that kind of surrounds the central tower, there are lots of politicians, bureaucrats, lords, ladies, getting into the citadel, out of it, stopping, chatting. There are some vendors here selling food to the nobles. Quite expensive, although you all can afford it for the most part. You're fairly well paid, experienced adventurers. As you're kind of waiting, milling about, separate groups at first, both of you are approached by representatives of the Imghalad, and kind of ushered to a particular location. It's this smaller. It's part of the same tower, but it's almost like a little separate attached building. Which Hen'thristis, you've probably been here before. The rest of you, Barry probably has, but I think the other three have not. This is the Imghalad's headquarters within the city. It's directly attached to them. So. In this room, first Barry and Basil come to kind of an empty little meeting room. There's a table, some refreshments placed on it. Once you start to, think when somebody's going to show up, the door opens again, and Hen'thir is steps in, followed by Ilya, Gipre. And I think this is the first time that the two of you are meeting the three of you. Kind of the two groups look each other over.
Barry's an Elcar, right?
Elcar, yeah.
Hen'thir inclines his head towards the two of you and just
Hello.
walks towards the seat.
He's not like a pure Elcar elf. He's got weird family genealogy going on.
Sure.
I think Basil
Elementari
couldn't
bits.
care less. He's helping himself to the snacks and refreshments while Barry does all the talking.
Basil's got some crumbs on his.
Barry's in like their full regalia and armor, and like I think they've done like missions specifically with cities like guard and stuff to like help out and deal with monsters. And they'll take a seat as well. They're just like, so you're who we're going to be working with. It's good to see. Are you all experienced?
No.
We are all experienced to a fashion. It's the realm in which we get our experience that differs.
I'm Gipre. What's your name?
Who are they looking towards?
You.
They're gonna reach out a big hand and say, "The name is Barithil. It's wonderful to meet you."
Nice to meet you too.
Oh, I see. Does Gipre have obvious religious symbols on them?
Yeah, she has a small symbol of mirror around her neck, and her armor has kind of on her shoulders. There's symbols as well in the armor there.
Yeah. Barry would have like an obvious symbol of Sil, like a pendant hanging from their neck. They'd reach in and say, "Oh, I see you're a fellow practitioner."
Yes, and you are as well. It's wonderful to be in the company of others who understand what it means to believe. With a very pointed look at Ilya.
I also look at Ilya.
Ilya just smiles very slow and very slowly drops a wink at Gipre. And as they do so, their hand slips underneath the table. Like earlier, they'd been like writing and taking a note of something, but they slip their hand underneath the table very deliberately and curl their fist.
Neither Barry nor Basil notices it. They're happy and
Do I notice it with my passive 18?
yes, you do. You are very keenly aware of this fact.
Can I roll to notice it with my good insight?
You can just notice it using passive.
Okay.
After so many years, you learn to believe in something, at least part of your life.
We're working on it. Aren't we,
You
Hen'thir?
won't? Well, belief is not an important part of being good.
Well, being good and believing are two separate things. I more so mean, after so long, you learn to find one that's on your side, so to speak.
Hen'thir kind of lets out a breathy laugh. It's not a laugh that is of something being particularly funny, but like just an innate reaction to words that don't apply to him. He says, I'm Hen'thristis Mellinderil. I'm sure you've
Are you practitioner of any kind of magic, or do you just fight with blades?
Oh, I'm one of the most accomplished members of my family in the magical arts. But no, mainly blades.
I understand. I also tend to mix the arcane arts and blades. It is an interesting combination. And who is your friend there?
Ilya is like patty teeing in the corner.
Hen'thir waits for Ilya to respond.
Ilya's not even like actually genuinely pouty teen. Ilya just did not connect the friend until
Yeah.
people looked at them.
Yeah, until the whole room looked at you as you were the focus. That's very funny.
And who? This guy? No way.
And Ilya looks at Hen'thristis, like clearly like making that, oh, this is my Ilya, pleased to meet you. And doesn't say anything further.
Do you know what sort of work they practice? Are they a friend or just a scribe?
As
Oh,
soon as
that one?
Yeah,
soon as they're talking
different
around
than
him, like as soon as they're talking around them, Ilya decides, oh, okay, I don't have to talk anymore, and goes back to sitting.
Henthia has been trying to make Ilya be like more talkative to people, and just like
Mhm.
the question being directed to him like actively stops that being the case, and he's like, "Oh, well, in the past they have practiced murder, but now they're practicing not murdering.
Well, no, to be precise,
Not
I'm murdering
murdering.
the people you want me to murder, correct?
Historically, that's not called murder.
Ah,
Called,
I-
there's a different word for it. It is a semantical difference, but
I do understand teaching somebody the difference between those two things, and they look fondly back to Basil.
Who
and
has
what's
a
your
cookie?
name, friend Kobold?
Oh, Basil doesn't speak in the traditional tongue. They use their hands. They can understand you fine, though.
Okay. Sure. What is your name? I want to see the sign for his name, basically.
Just like slowly reaches for another treat and is like,
Barry will like look to Basil and just like quickly send to them like, please tell them your name.
he will sign his name. If you're asking me what it is, I don't know.
No.
This. Boom. This is what it is. I just made that up right now. I just pulled that out of my ass.
A weird, almost Spock.
Sorry. No
Henthia,
But, you know, this is PG-13. We're allowed one F-bomb, right?
Henthia says, "Nice to meet you," and then like makes the same hand sign. It like looks really weird through his like taut skin skeletal hand.
Mm-hmm.
But then he will kind of wait patiently for anything else, unless anybody else has
As,
questions for him, or apparently Ilya, who he speaks for now.
As you finish the last of the introductions, almost as if they were just waiting for you to finish introducing each other. The two dwarves open the door and walk in. One of them is wearing not robes, but just like very fancy clothes with like a fur-lined cloak. It's all like silks with gold embroidery, like that. Older, even for a dwarf, very clearly like aged and elderly. And next to them is a figure wearing half plate, and they're carrying a long sword. The older dwarf kind of. Hello. You are here because you were contacted about the earthquakes. Yes.
Yes.
Good. Good. My name is Larithok. You may have heard of me. I am second of the Imghalad here in the city. I am here to dispense information about your current task. He gestures, just like holding his hand outwards, as the other figure pulls a map, or well, a rolled up piece of parchment and places it. This. We have. Sorry, somebody's making background noise. I don't know who it is. We have prepared maps of the area. They are somewhat old, so you might have to make detours, subject to key. You're told that this area is relatively safe, although it has not been patrolled in some time. We believe that you will have to travel about to here. He points on the map, and the maps of the Dwarven tunnels are strange because they're not. It's not a 2D plane. They have to kind of relate verticality as well. So they're almost like a slightly matrix-like. They're kind of isometric, shifted perspective a little bit. And there's when you unroll the paper, you actually note that there's kind of like 3 different ones relating like one level with like a couple different tiers, another level with a couple different tiers. Points at the third map piece. Thanks to some of our arcanists and clerics, we have determined that earthquakes appear to be originating here. The map, unfortunately, does not cover that, although believe it to be a large chamber. Ends in this strange doorway. And he will slide over a picture, or a drawing rather, of it's kind of like a huge door, or at least that's the impression that you get of it, with a statue of a dragon kind of curled around it, almost coming out of the rock that the door is carved into. The head of it kind of snaking out of the top, one claw on one side, another claw resting at the top of the door. It's all carved in what seems to be stone. At least it's like a charcoal drawing, so like color and stuff like that is lost. Anybody who would like to can make me an Arcana check as
That tracks.
Yeah.
there you go. Good rolls. Okay.
Barry and Henthia are just like, well, we know everything.
Basil and I are having a moment
Um,
together.
We're just kind of like,
I'm trying to learn Basil's name. I'm not very good with the symbol, so we're trying to like go back and forth with it.
Can I give
Basil
as well
just
when we're
looking
thinking about it
looking.
and studying it? Can I give guidance to Hen'thir and flavor it as just like Barry is discussing it and silently looks up and like looks at Hen'thir and says a prayer to their god that they're not going to have to think about this door when they get there?
As you do so, you are unfortunately perhaps have your fears realized. Barithil and Hen'thir, you both note intricate, even in this charcoal drawing. This was seen like in person and really noted down. There are large runic markings on the doorway.
Mhm.
Protective magics, seals against opening, stuff of that sort of nature. We believe that the doorway may be an obstacle overcome, which is why I selected Barithil to
Yes.
for this journey. Hopes that your prowess with the arcane help
This
move you
is
through
my.
the obstacle.
This is just another form of abjuration. This is well within my abilities. It's certainly advanced and will be difficult, but it's not impossible by any means.
Good. We will be paying you 1,500 gold, each of you, should you return with valuable information. Empty-handed, we'll pay you 500 gold apiece. If you are not able to pierce through the door, relay no information of value. But if you would have scouted out the area, if you are able to stop the earthquakes, there will be a bonus, anywhere from double the initial payment to triple, depending on veracity of threat you have dealt with. Are these acceptable terms?
Yes, of course.
That is acceptable for me.
Ilya doesn't react at all because they know that they don't have a choice.
Gipper's just
Yeah,
gonna,
Henthia sees it
gonna
as
go back into the temple. She's gonna keep like very little for herself, and the rest is just gonna go to the temple.
Henthia is viewing this as like Gipra's making the decision, and he will travel with her if she decides. So he's just going to nod when she says yes.
Excellent. My second Tellera here. Handle the specifics, questions you might have. I have duties elsewhere.
I think Henthia says, "Would you like me to update your map?"
Yes, if you have mapping capabilities, routes posted here are proven to be. We would pay you 50 gold each corrected inaccuracy that you find.
Henthia doesn't have mapping capabilities, and he more meant like right now. I can tell you that like 3 of these things are just demonstrably wrong since we spend all our time down there. But he says, "Okay, yes, I will attempt to do that. And you can donate any of the proceeds to the Temple of Mira."
Thank you, Henty. I really appreciate that, and so does the order.
He smiles and says, "Well, you always remember the first order that chose to resurrect you."
Yes.
Imghalad thanks you for your services on behalf of people of the Khor Commonwealth. Good day.
Good day.
Good day.
They move out of this room. Probably one of the oldest dwarves that most of you have ever seen. But this other person, it's again, they're wearing half plate. It seems to be a dwarven woman. They've got a much more closely cropped beard than most of the other people walking about here. But they just look at you, kind of waiting.
Well, I, for one, have no questions.
My questions have been answered as well.
Unless you somehow have some knowledge about what lies beyond the door.
Unfortunately, whatever my lord has told you, what the Imghalad knows of the doorway. But I can procure for you rations, other basic equipment. On behalf of the
That would
Imghalad.
be so appreciated. Thank you.
I will mark you down for a week's ration. Oops.
They'll look to see if Basil wants to relay any questions, anything they want to say. Basil has anything in specific to say.
Not particularly. He's just ready to like go stab shit and get money, honestly. He's pretty excited.
There have been some shadow demons and imps noted, and they posted on the map. It's like pretty early on. Some have been dealt with, but there might be more that you will encounter on your initial journeys. Beyond that, less is known. That is why we have hired experienced, or at least capable.
It is good to hear that.
As we let's kind of finish this moment, go into this person goes to get you your raft, and you guys kind of start to talk a little bit about where you're going to start, what's the best route to take with these maps. We flash back, or rather flash forward back to you all sitting around the campfire in this kind of cavernous space near trickling running water of the waterfall nearby. As I said before, this is about the end of the fifth day on your journey. You should get to the door soon. You have encountered a number of cave-ins and had to backtrack a little bit, but dwarves keep really good records. So unless a tunnel is destroyed somehow, the maps are still fairly accurate for the most part.
Before we leave, I want to ritual cast divination.
Okay.
And Larry is just going to lay out what looks to be a simple map of the moon, like it's drawn out and illustrated in calligraphy. And all around it are different answers and cryptic messages. And they rest their hand on it, and they're going to look up and pray and burn the incense as they ask the simple question, will we reach the door by the end of the night?
The end of the next.
Yeah, the end of the next day.
I'm just trying to find it. This is the yes, no, maybe one.
It's you ask a question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. DM offers a truthful reply. The reply might be a short phrase, cryptic, rhyme, or omen.
You hear in your head, soft, almost lilting voice reply to you. By tomorrow's eve, the dragon's head, see.
They take that information in as deeply as they can. They know sometimes the omen comes a few seconds later, and once it's over, they look and they say, it seems by the end of tomorrow evening we should encounter something of significance. Beyond
Henthia can still hear you, but when you started burning the incense, he's moved significantly further away from the camp. The incense gets really badly into his sinuses and stuff, so he's quite a long way away. But while he's doing that, can I roll to see if there's any evidence of movement of other fiends through this area? Track if people have been moving through?
That would be a survival check.
Yes. And
I
I have advantage on wisdom survival checks to track fiends, fae, and undead.
There you go.
As well as intelligence ability checks to recall information about them. All right, I should have had
Yes,
advantage
you
on
do.
all of these things. I should remember these things.
Doing that earlier.
So survival with advantage. Basically everything to know about fiends I just have advantage on.
Advantage really helps there.
Okay. Big swing. You go back to the road where you were at, kind of looking for. You go a little bit away from the battle to an area that you haven't been yet, which hopefully is undisturbed by any tracks that you would battle. And you look for claw marks, evidence of people having passed through recently. And you do note, as you are looking, there are relatively fresh scrapes on the ground, heavy footprints where the dirt has been shifted, and it's still air here, so there's a lot less, erosion and ways that footprints and such are going to get removed, except for by other creatures passing through the area for the most part, cave-ins and like that. You would guess, you give it a quick sniff, that there have been demons passing through the area with some regularity as recently as the last day. demons other than the crystalline devils that you encountered previously. A sizable number of them. It's hard to pin an exact group because it's there's lots of tracks here, but maybe 6 or 7 within the last day have passed through this area.
Once the incense has stopped burning, Hen'thir returns, probably covering his mouth with like a golden sash that he normally just has attached to his robe.
Mhm.
And says, covering his nose, not his mouth. Says, while I was out and about, I decided to have a look for some tracks. There's been demons moving through as recently as maybe earlier today, maybe yesterday at the latest. 6 to 7, so something is changing.
We should move quickly then.
Can't do much with demons. If they're undead, that's another story.
Well, my experience with demons has always been that if you hit them enough, they stop being a problem.
I did learn that lesson today. That is true. Yeah.
And sometimes you have to hit them one more time than you'd expect.
Right.
Target practice.
Sometimes even a few extra times just for the joy of it.
Well, yes, but as you get older, you want to cut down on wasteful physical motion.
All right. You guys begin to break camp. Paid your long rest, done your ceremonies, whatnot. Make sure you click it to regain spells. That if you're unfamiliar, there's a little bed near your character art on the sheet. You can take a long rest from there. So, as you break camp, you gather up your things and start to leave the area behind. The sounds of the waterfall slowly fade as you move back into the interconnected tunnel system. You kind of wind around, going downwards in an arc in a long way, following the map. Hen'thir, if you stop again, you stop once or twice just to check and see if there are still more tracks. Oh, well, everybody else knows that sees Hen'thir, so I didn't realize Jack stepped away for a second.
Helping him out.
Sneaky got it.
As soon as I said Hen'thir, he was like, "Oh, gotta leave."
I'm helping you do it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to learn.
The important thing was you do continue to see evidence of demons following the same path that you are kind of going into, and you Hen'thir suggests, I think, that you start to kind of follow the tracks. They seem to be going in the right direction. You might save some time by doing it that way. Hen'thir, I said that you were looking out for more tracks and keep following the footprints that you found.
Yeah.
You stepped away, I guess, right when I started saying that.
All right. Yes, 100%. That's the point of him as an adventurer, to be able to trap demons. So
I was trying to learn from you.
yeah, Hen'thir's not a bad teacher, but is certainly teaching you using senses that you don't have access to. He does use his sense of smell a lot, for sulfur, and he has a heightened sense of smell. So it's
Keyword is trying.
Yeah, he's trying to help and is not great at it. So.
After you think maybe 8-ish hours, some of you have a better grasp of time in this sunless world down beneath Gipre, and probably most of you actually, since you're native. But after about 8 hours, you come to a much wider tunnel. You think that at one point in time, this was probably a dwarf road, one of the highways connecting the tunnel systems together. Although you suspect it's been cut off from the rest of the system. As you move through,
I would like to say that I I don't think it works that way. Don't worry. The feature I was thinking of is not that.
As you move through this space, walking along, you get to the road, and Hen'thir, where before you were following half dozen demons, now you can see 24 individual tracks of different ages. It becomes a jumble. It's harder to tell exactly how many people pass through and exactly how recently, although the newest tracks do seem to be the 6 or 7 that you were following. With your 25, you can still deduce that. All the tracks end as you come up to a large doorway, exactly matching the picture that you had several days ago. And one of you probably has a pouch. It is even taller than the drawing suggested, stretching up about 30 feet from the ground floor. It is wide enough that 2, maybe even 3 wagons could fit through it abreast at the same time. And these runic markings are large, easily the size of maybe a person for some of them. So 5 feet or slightly more. You feel the dragon's head almost gazing down at you, almost as though there's a presence there. Although as you glance back at it, maybe one of you casts Detect Magic, you don't think anything's actually watching you. However, you do see this massive doorway. The runic markings have just the subtlest of white glows about them. You note that the tracks don't seem to go through the doorway. They end maybe 30 feet before it gets up to it. They don't actually cross through the threshold. So you don't see the demons around.
Do they have returning footprints? Do the footprints all walk forward and then not walk back?
There are returning footprints. The returning footprints start. Basically, it's maybe a little bit farther back or farther forward, but basically where the entering footprints end.
Can I roll insight to see if that just looks like the natural way if you walked up, looked at a door, and then walked away, it would look like? Or if it's...
Yeah, you make it.
If you walked up, did a teleport, re-teleported. 18.
This is suggestive to you of some kind of teleportation. There's a clear pause, you think, where the feet shift for a moment, like they were standing here for a little bit, and then you'll see occasionally wisps in the ground, as though a flash of magic, some spell was gone on, and moved the creature somewhere else. Very subtle, and you're confident that a lesser tracker would not have picked up on that.
I think it looks like the demons have been approaching and then teleporting somewhere and then returning from whence they teleported. But getting through the door probably answers most of those questions.
Should I try simply dispelling
teleportation available to us?
As Gipre voices that, Barry, because you rolled way earlier about the door, the door should prevent teleportation into the chamber beyond. Whatever the demon's doing is somehow circumventing the magic door. You don't think they haven't actually breached it through dispelling the magic, or somehow it probably has a password of some kind, although that's been lost to the age.
This probably isn't traditional teleportation magic. It's generally immune to that. They must know a passkey of some kind to allow themselves to do so.
I'm not seeing that it ever imported, but I'll just describe it and see if this is something that what happens with it. Ilya just kind of saunters over to the door, and eventually just kind of doesn't quite lean against it, but is almost like they would lay their forehead against it, but stops just short. And the invocation is for seeing through walls and doors and things like that. Probably won't apply given all the protections, but
what's the thickness?
I'm checking. It didn't actually import with the difficulty of the
Age-old important question indeed. What thickness door can you see through? Every door is 4 inches thick. Because
Are we talking thick with a K or with 3 C's?
I can't even see where it was when I tried to load it earlier. It's not popping up. I thought it was a 5-foot.
Meanwhile, Hen'thria will start
Is it Ghostly Gaze?
I think maybe.
As an action, you
Yes,
gain the
you're right,
ability
it's
to
Ghostly
see
Gaze.
through solid objects to a range of 30 feet.
Yeah. That's the one, yeah.
Okay. Well, there's no way the door is 30 feet thick. Although it is fairly thick.
You're really getting a lot of mileage out of the word thick there.
Yeah, well, enough time it loses its meaning. If you use your ghostly gaze here, I think your sight won't penetrate the door directly, but you can penetrate the surrounding rock. And it's close to 30 feet, you think. It is quite thick. Maybe
girthy.
Can penetrate.
Yeah,
That's
got
what
some
you're
girth
saying.
to it. Maybe 20 feet or so. So you have to really get up there to see through it. You don't see any creatures beyond, although you can tell it's a chamber and it's large. It stretches beyond the sides of the tunnel that you're currently in. Kind of rending outwards till your ghostly vision.
Ilya just steps away, and as they do, they rub briefly, there's almost a sense of pain, and then they pull their hands away, and their eyes look normal until they shift slightly to the side, and then there's this weird reflective quality. There's nothing in there. The walls are far too thick for me to easily penetrate, but perhaps if somebody can get through 20 feet of rock, we could just go around.
I have no way to bore through rock, but if we want to go with the original plan of dispelling the door's magic, I'm always available.
Ilya is just looking at Gipre dwarfs, rock, earth, Mira will provide, won't she?
I guess I mean I can hammer it, or I can try a divine intervention to see if she'll help us through the door.
You could try divine intervention. I want to see that roll.
Why not? Let's do it. 200, 10% or lower. Let's see.
Let's see that one, baby.
That'd be really funny.
Oh,
I feel like it.
too.
I feel like if that works, that's such a funny thing to call on God for to open a door.
Hey,
But
God.
it makes perfect sense for Mira to just rip open a hole in a tunnel.
Yeah. Ilya, when nothing happens, presumably, Ilya says, very helpful. I am much obliged.
Well,
What do you want me to do? I don't have any skills for that.
Look, it's Hen'thria is pointing out different arcane runes, so that basically acting as an extra pair of eyes to give the help action to any Arcana check that Barry does. But says, look, we can argue about whether praying to Mira or staring through rock and saying that there was nothing in a chamber that we know is filled with something. Which one of those was more useful?
I'll just open the door.
I would say neither.
Could you ask your god to give me a little bit of help? And out of character, that's just Barry asking for guidance on the Dispel Magic check.
I have guidance. Yep, give you guidance.
Briefly, Barry's also going to take off their hat and reveal like their long, flowing hair, and their hair is going to shimmer white for a second as if wizened by someone. And I'm going to cast Enhance Ability Intelligence myself.
I will tell you that Barry would know that certainly whatever magic's on this door is greater than 5th level. So
yeah, not worth upcasting. Just make the roll. Okay. So Enhance Ability Intelligence. So this will be. Of course, I'm going to take multiple shots at this, but this is the first one. So D20 plus 4 plus 1d4. 26. I assume that most certainly doesn't.
Well, you get advantage, so.
Oh, yeah.
Just in case.
The guidance from Mira, is a crit. That would be very funny.
And the way this looks is it just looks like Barry is summoning like this just massive gale of wind behind them as they pull up the sword. And the arcane protection behind the door, as it extends out from it slightly, they take the sword and almost seem to pierce the barrier that holds it, and then just pull the sword up as if tearing a hole in whatever magic once held it together.
You throw the force of your magic at the door in an attempt to dispel it. It's a very impressive display. Everybody is sure that the door must be openable now. However, the runes blink for a second, or back on. Barry, as you're thinking about this, you suspect that this is magic beyond what a normal mortal would be capable of casting, and likewise, it is probably beyond what you are capable of spelling current.
Did all of the runes blink at the same time, or was there some sort of?
There was a. They seem to blink from top to bottom, so that and left to right. So it was like blink, 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 blink.
Well, this is, if any, magic certainly above what any mortal has achieved above 9th levels magics, as the mages call it. This was certainly weaved by either something close to a deity or something above a human.
Gipre, as Barithil says this, you're examining the door, examining the craftsmanship. You feel a certain kind of presence within this work, within the edifice itself. A certain closeness to your god. You feel as though this doorway, placed directly by Mira themselves, though your divine intervention didn't work, suspect that the cleric of your worshiper might be able to open the door by beseeching Mira of their need through prayer. There might be a particular prayer you need, and you know that demons are not capable of speaking such prayers. If you would like to, you can make me a religion check.
I love that it's intelligence based, even though it should be wisdom based. That's one thing I still.
I usually do
But hey,
wisdom if it's like
well,
a
that's fine.
fair thing. So we'll make that
Still a dirty 20.
Make it a 22. Give you a...
Okay.
Can I give them guidance? As I just beseech my own god to aid them as well.
Why not? This is a secret. I'll allow it.
Yeah, my cleric failed most of his religion checks in
Elevation,
the
that
main
feels
game.
like it. So
Yeah.
25. That's a good, nice round number there.
It's a nice number.
That's what I was shooting for.
Gipre walks up to the door, past where the footprints end, until they are standing directly in the seam where the two halves of the door come together. Dragon seeming to loom directly down upon you, almost waiting for its breath weapon to just onto you. As you begin to pray with sincerity, going through all the litanies that you know, and trying to hope that you can stumble upon the right words, that Mirror will see you and look favorably upon you to give you some aid. You glance up at the dragon's head, and as you are completing all of these prayers, you see the one eye begins to. There's a large crack, fissure in the doorway that splits slightly, and then in the other eye, until it almost looks like two jagged cuts have been made. Either of the runes begin to until they are done. Give off no. You put a hand on the door. You have to push. You have to use all your strength, and it does move slightly. At which point, I think the others kind of like go to help you out, all pushing at once. It takes the 5 of you. Even none of you are super duper strong, so it definitely takes the 5 of you to move.
Barry's pretty funny.
Yeah, it probably balances out the fact that I have a 5 strength.
I think that biggest bonus is +2, so yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty strong, so you get +3. But either way, you manage to push the door open enough to you can squeeze yourself in. Upon rushing through, the door immediately closes itself, and as you look back, Barry, you can see the runes that are reflected on this side in a perfect mirror. Light back up to prevent entrance again. You suspect that only a decently powerful cleric of Mira would be capable of opening that door, or otherwise, another deity might have been able to counteract the magic. You find yourselves all in a large chamber. It stretches out far beyond any of your dark vision can see. There's a pathway going down. And there's a breeze in this room. That Hen'thir recognizes as inhalation, exhalation of some massive creature to be able to affect this huge cavern in such a manner.
Hen'thir has his hand about to clap Gipre on the shoulder, for her, essentially being the reason we got through this door, and is hovering mid strike and says, "Oh, that breeze is breathing."
I don't like that.
Perhaps it just wants to talk.
Perhaps. And he draws both scimitars out of the sheaths, and at the same time, cuts, probably one at a time. He pulls it out of the sheath and presses his thumb to the blade as it pulls up out of it, and does it on both hands to do both my scimitars to... What is this, some kind of underground dragon? One is cold and one is lightning.
Okay. As this image of Hen'thir lighting up their scimitars, this magic. That's where we're going to end today's session. Since we are at 3 hours 30 minutes, and this is basically the perfect spot.
The drama, the tension.
Right.
Absolutely never using those. Why does it keep clicking random things from my features? Sorry.
Thanks everybody
I'm
for
not
coming.
even on that page.
I don't know why I used a third level slot there. I assumed only a nat 20 would do anything.
Yeah, if you had gotten an nat 20, I would have let it go off. Everything would not have worked. There were some other ways you could have gotten through, but they would not have been
You
as
could have
efficient.
pushed Ilya's face into the door hard enough.
You could have waited to see waited for a group of demons to show up and try to gank them and to figure out how they
Oh, but that would have been
they were doing it.
messy.
But yeah, that would have been messy. So, anyways, thanks everybody for coming out and watching. If you're not following the stream, consider giving us a follow. If you're on YouTube, consider subscribing. We will be back next week for the thrilling conclusion of this adventure. What I think will be a very interesting battle. Too early. Oh, anybody else got anything to say? I'm the one who talks at the end of the.
You should also catch us tomorrow for the thrilling conclusion of Kids on Bikes, where certainly, ideally, a 10-year-old will be killed.
It's very possible.
In a perfect world, that 10-year-old will die.
I have ideas for each character death and for what Jazz will do at the end.
I think that the most likely to die is Casey, as in these things, the one that is the most adult will die.
Yeah,
and she
and
is
also
the
Al's gonna get her killed, and
all right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Andrew.